The first day of NHL action in the United States. The Florida Panthers raising their first ever Stanley Cup banner in their franchise's history up against the Boston Bruins, who seek vengeance here to begin the regular season. Hello everyone, I am Alec Nava, JohRyanOtt in just a moment. The Florida Panthers and Boston Bruins meet again for what is a grudge match between the two teams. The Bruins and Panthers have met in the last two playoff years, with the Panthers prevailing victorious in both those times. 2023 in the first round, 2024 in the second round, in 7 games and 6 games respectively. So as we look towards this game, one other unexpected factor is to consider: the weather. Hurricane Milton is on its way to Florida, though it's expected to strike much of central Florida. Miami is going to get a lot of strings of hairs of rain, but not too much damage all about. A tropical storm warning is in effect for the Miami area. We will monitor forecasts for that. Even so, the ESPN studios have announced that John Buccigross and Ryan Callahan will call the game from their Bristol studios because of the impact that Milton will have in the state of Florida. So that is that for the weather implications and to what is to expect in terms of weather. So in terms of actual lineups in that, we start off with the Boston Bruins: Pavel Zacha, Elias Lindholm, David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand, Charlie Coyle, Morgan Geekie, Max Jones, Trent Frederick, Justin Brazeau, and Johnny Beecher, Mark Kaswick, Cole Koepke. That's for the forward core. Defense core starts off with Hampus Lindholm with Charlie McAvoy, Mason Lohrei with Brandon Carlo, and Nikita Zadorov with Andrew Peeke. Jonas Korpisalo is expected to get the start, with Jeremy Swayman backing him up. Riley Tufte and Parker Wotherspoon are the extras. Injured are Matt Poitras, Ian Mitchell, and Alec Regula. Upper body, undisclosed, and knee injuries respectively. For Florida, it goes like this: with the forward core: Carter Verhaeghe, Alexander Barkov, Sam Reinhart, Evan Rodriguez, Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk, Eetu Luostarinen, Anton Lundell, Mackie Samoskevich, Jonah Gadjevich, Jesper Boquist, AJ Greer. Defense pairing starting with Gustav Forsling with Aaron Ekblad, Nico Mikla with Dmitry Kulikov, Uvis Bolinskis with Adam Boquist, Sergei Bobrovsky the starting netminder, Chris Drieger is the backup. Extras are Nate Schmidt and Mackenzie Entwistle. Injured are Tomas Nosek and Justin Sauerdief, both with upper body injuries. So it's a lot of theatrics heading into this game. Florida knows Boston all too well, with the Panthers preparing to raise their Stanley Cup banner. This year's team isn't too different from last year's champions. The top 8 scorers from last year are back, including Reinhart, Tkachuk, and Barkov, as well as 3 of the top 4 defensemen, including the top pairing of Forsling and Ekblad. But there are new faces around. Boquist and Greer will make their Panthers debuts up front. Jesper Boquist, that is, while Adam Boquist, who is the younger brother of Jesper, will be on the blue line and quarterbacking the top power play unit. As far as returning players trying to become regulars, Samoskevich and Bolinskis are also on the lineup. Bobrovsky was a finalist for the Vezina Trophy last year. He'll get the nod in net. Drieger was with the Panthers a couple seasons back with the Seattle Kraken. He'll serve as his backup. But even after capturing Lord Stanley, these cats think they can be better. The Bruins spent the offseason trying to build a team looking to take down the Panthers, getting more skilled down the middle, and adding toughness to the back end with Elias Lindholm and Zadorov. Zadorov in particular always seems to be in the middle of the action against the Cats. Lindholm was spotted centering Boston's top line between Zacha and Pastrnak. He's one of the more lethal scorers in the NHL. Pastrnak, that is. Won 10 points, but he scored just once against Florida in last year's playoffs. And Jeremy Swayman was an absolute brick wall against the Panthers in last year's playoffs, and he finally put the pen to the paper, an 8-year extension, but he's expected to start after missing all of training camp. So for precautionary measures, the Bruins are going with Korpisalo as their starting netminder. And Marchand says the Bruins will not be focused on the past, but he acknowledged that the season opening showdown with their newfound rivals will be fraught with emotion. Marchand did not forget about that headshot he took from Sam Bennett in the playoffs. He is looking to deliver retribution here, and Jim Montgomery did not confirm whether Swayman or Korpisalo before this game would be the starting netminder. He said, "You'll find out 7 o'clock. They know who's going. That's the important part. You know where you're starting and ready to go. You're prepared mentally." At the same time in this game, we're also going to have live updates from both the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies, and the San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Stay tuned, everybody. The action is coming next. Alec Nava here with you, people. JohRyanOtt will be joining momentarily. See you then.
The Boston Bruins, head coached by Jim Montgomery. It sounds like this. It's a little bit different. Elias Lindholm, Pavel Zacha, David Pastrnak, Hampus Lindholm, Charlie McAvoy, Charlie Quell, Brad Marchand, Morgan Geeky, Mason Lohr, Brandon Carlo, Trent Frederick, Max Jorns, Justin Brazo, Mark Kastelik, John Beecher, Cole Koepke, Nikita Zadorov, Andrew Peak, Jonas Korpisalo is going to be getting the start today. And for the Florida Panthers, head coached by Paul Maurice, we're getting into the banner drop ceremony in just a moment. That's Alex Barkov, Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Reinhart, Gustav Forsling, Aaron Ekblad, Sam Bennett, Evan Rodriguez, Matthew Tkachuk, Nico Mikolov, Dmitry Kulikov, Anton Lundell, Itula Serena, Mackie Samoskevich, Jesper Boquist, Joanna Gadjevich, and AJ Greer, with Elvis Bolskins, and Adam Boquist, and Sergei Bobrovsky in net. Alec, it is good to be back with you, my friend, and Barkov just put the cup right in on the altar here, and we're going to get things going, but I'm so excited to be alongside you again. This is the second time we get to do this.
Oh, this is surreal. Over here at Sunrise, Florida, where they're going to raise the Stanley Cup.
We'll be all good. These guys are all just waiting for everything else here, and everybody's got their phones out. As you would imagine, it was an incredible year for the Florida Panthers, their second straight journey to the Stanley Cup, and they're able to take it in 7 against the Edmonton Oilers.
I mean, I didn't realize I had my microphone on mute already, but here it is. They're raising the Stanley Cup here in Sunrise, and while we are watching the banner raise, we're thinking about the rest of the people over in Florida as well, knowing that the hurricane is on the way. But the Florida Panthers, well, while the Miami metro area isn't going to get a lot out of the storm, it still feels special watching this Stanley Cup, though there's no easy transition from one topic to the other. Winning the cup always feels a surreal feeling. But however, there feels like a period of transition in between for Florida, that you lose some key depth pieces. Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Vladimir Tarasenko, both gone. Brandon Montour, priced out because of Sam Reinhart. But Florida doesn't mind a challenge. They don't mind a repeat challenge.
Alec, can I say it this way, too? For the first Stanley Cup in franchise history for Florida, 2 straight years in the Cup final. I know the third line, and I've said that a lot in between Anton Lundell and Eetu Luostarinen. I mean, look at it. You got third and fourth line now, as you said. Get capped out a little bit, some new blood. It's been a lot of mileage on these players. I know some young ones for Tkachuk and Reinhart, right, for Hagee in the right age group, but some new blood is not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's never a bad thing keeping Lundell and Luostarinen on that third line. It's a heavy checking third line that Florida's familiar with. Now you insert Mackie Samoskevich, one of my top Florida prospects that I've been excited to watch play on a full-time basis in Florida. And now he's finally going to get the opportunity to play on a full-time role with the Panthers in his first proper season with them, his rookie year. And now he gets this shot to prove himself. You keep Reinhart along, that's good. You keep Lundell onto a 6-year extension, that's good as well. My question is, will they have the money to keep Verhaeghe and Bennett together for a long term, and even Ekblad?
That's a really tough call, Alec. Right now, I would have to lean no. You have a lot of star power on this lineup, and it really, in a cap era, it's hard to keep everybody together.
Yeah. That being said, in terms of cap merits, they finally got the job done with Jeremy Swayman on the contract talks. It took up until the 11th hour for it to be signed, putting pen to paper. I feel that they're resting him for this day because he missed all of training camp in the midst of the contract situations. They think he's not ready to go. I don't know if this is a good thing to say, but Joonas Korpisalo, they're banking on him to rebound after a dreadful year in Ottawa. To be fair, he did show flashes of him being a good goaltender before he landed with the Los Angeles Kings in the 23 trade deadline. And with the Kings, he was solid in the regular season down the stretch. Against Edmonton, however, he got lit up like a lamp. But with Boston behind that defensive structure, you would believe that you would see improvement for Korpisalo.
I'm with you there, Alec, because we're not asking for Columbus Blue Jackets type level Joonas Korpisalo against the Bolts. We're asking for a bounce back in between a much better Boston defense. I agree with you there. That's what they're going to have to expect because Ottawa really wasn't ready to compete, regardless of maybe a year and a half of me maybe thinking so that they could. They need to get a little bit back from him. And as you said, priorities in the sense like Jeremy Swayman and all of that, they got that done in the 11th hour. I think that was job number one. At least that's done because after losing Linus Ullmark, Jeremy Swayman, when he gets ready to go, he's going to have a lot more workload than just 44 games.
Yeah, he's easily going to shatter the games played mark in his career high in a season. Say somewhere around the high 50s, maybe even close to 60 in that regard.
How are you doing, Ian?
Doing good, John. Doing good, Alec.
You see that the Blues won, Ian?
Yes.
What?
You see that the Blues won?
Yeah, man. Whew. I watched pretty much the entire game. The Blues, 3 goals in 1 minute and 55 seconds.
Yep.
Those offer sheets, Broberg and Holloway, they're now working wonders. And they connected on Broberg's first goal as a Blue, just his third career goal in his NHL career. I wonder how the offer sheets would work out. But with Broberg, there was just no way that Edmonton could match it because even for as talented as Broberg is, it felt like it just didn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion, to match it. Holloway could be more realistic to match it. The Broberg one feels a little riskier because the Blues, they're banking on the chance that he continues his development from how he played from the Western Conference Final onwards. He wasn't a standout piece until he was inserted in the lineup late for Chris Knobloch's squad.
Yep.
I'm right there with you, Alec. I think that's kind of what had to happen at the Blues. You want to try to make a little bit of movement there. You still got that aging decor. Although Jordan Binnington, again, played a pretty darn good game as he usually does, as the Blues got off to the right foot. And alongside new head coaching staff with Dan Bylsma from the Coachella Valley Firebirds, I know it's just one game, but it's another one of those games where they just can't score goals.
Well, they did score the first two, but they had to hold on to it. It's not like it was at the fault of Philip Grubauer. He was okay, but there were some backbreakers they made. For the most part, he was okay for Seattle. Maybe this is what they needed, but nonetheless, allowing 3 goals in 25 shots against is not the best look for Grubauer, especially since he's fighting for his starting position. And so far, when you see him lose his starting job to Joey Daccord, who was a third stringer originally in Seattle's plans, but because of the injuries to Chris Drieger, who landed back with Florida, by the way, and with Daccord's rise, Grubauer is losing that battle, sadly.
Yeah, we'll see, because Joey Daccord played some pretty good hockey for the Kraken just to try to get something going, and we'll see what the barometer is for them on their chances alongside St. Louis. We'll continue to monitor. Again, as we get into the anthems, just want to remind everybody, again, no surprise to anybody that's in here already, but David Pastrnak, 110 points, plus 21, 47 goals. And on the other end for Florida, Sam Reinhart. Again, I had to double check and make sure I clean my glasses off. 57 for Sam Reinhart. We'll see if he can get anywhere close this year. Even though Tkachuk had 88 points, he only had 26 goals. Maybe a little bit of a return to the mean for both. That Reinhart could still probably get 40, 45, and Tkachuk, he probably hits maybe 35 or plus.
The 88 points by Tkachuk last year were a disappointment by standards, but it shows his game-breaking ability. It's wise of Paul Maurice to separate him from the top line of Verhaeghe, Barkov, and Reinhart, knowing how defensively sound the top 2 lines are, with especially Barkov and Reinhart together. Defensive aces. That's what Maurice's system likes to have. Defense. A heavy defensive structure, and Tkachuk, Barkov, Reinhart, they're no exceptions to it, John.
No, they're not. And again, I would imagine on the other side for Florida, a heavy workload for Sergei Bobrovsky. 58 games last year, pretty much everything in the playoffs, 36, 17, and 4, 237, 915 save, and 6 shutouts. I know we talked about the albatross that that contract was going to be, but ever since he's been in Florida, it's been pretty darn good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, though, I mean, the Panthers have won a hang on, sorry.
No worries.
I might have misheard. Are you talking about Bobrovsky's contract?
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about Bobrovsky.
Sure, it's still a high term with a lot of years. I feel like we can take the albatross status out of it because he's a cup winner in Florida. I don't think they care about the contract.
No, they don't now, but I was going into it. They thought it was going to be a big deal, but I think he's pretty much played to his standards of what they needed it to be.
Definitely.
Do you want to kick it off, Alec, or do you want me to get started?
All right, so guess I'll get the thing started. Let's get this party started here. NHL opening night, second game of the season in the United States. It is the Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers immediately on the opening shift. 21 seconds in, it's an icing. It'll go in the favor of Florida.
So here's the question on my mind. I know it's just game 1 of 82, but you got Jonas Korpisalo on the other end because Jeremy Swayman just signed his contract. Advantage Florida with all the momentum and the banner drop tonight? Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, who knows? But it's a brand new third pairing with them. Uvis Bolinskis and Adam Boquist as Tkachuk takes the first shot and Korpisalo makes his first save as a Boston Bruin.
It's going to be hopefully one of many more. They're going to need to see that from Jonas Korpisalo again. We talk about Corpy. He's been a good goalie in the past. Boston's got some new additions. How about bringing over Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov, former Canucks, former Flames, and Elias Lindholm, I think, is going to be the #1 seed today.
Hey, think of it like this. Boston in a trade of hypothetical free agent, in a hypothetical trade of free agents, they get Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov. Vancouver gets Jake DeBrusk and Danton Heinen on return. Kind of works like that. If you're asking me, fair trade in a sense, maybe, just maybe. Rodriguez will hand off for Bennett, ex-Flame here. As we speak of current Flames, Ryan Lomberg going to Calgary, and AJ Greer from Calgary to Florida. Now we're in the topic of hypothetical free agent trades. It's killing me on the inside. I just can't stop talking about it. Here comes Carter Verhaeghe. He'll rip it, and he's denied by Jonas Korpisalo. He had a wide open net right in front of him. A deep shot. Korpisalo will catch it and field it like an infielder at Citi Field.
We can be talking about that as well. Every single one of the DS series are tied 1-1 going into it. All of them been competitive and fun. There's a lot going on this time of year.
Well, Phillies fans, just look away from the scoreline right now. It's 6-0 Mets.
Wow, I did not see that one coming today.
Well, I expected the Mets to win, but in a blowout? What in the absolute world? Belinski's will hand off, and one of the Panthers gets dangerously shoved nearby behind the backboards of the netminder. Panthers trying to keep this one in. The Bruins do get this out as Kastelik, he gets pounded towards the wall. Gadjevich as well. As it go deep at the near corner. Beecher, who goes in for a ride as Greer was trying to take that one away. Taking to number 10 from the now Detroit Red Wing, Vladimir Tarasenko. Adam Boqvist spin and turn. He and his brother Jesper teammates now with the Panthers as the Bruins, they skate this over to the neutral zone across the red line and will send this down behind the net. Bobrovsky will leave behind for Belinski's. Belinski's will move in front, will hand off right side. Where the near side is bouncing on a pinball machine. Carlo picks it up at the far side. Boston's right there. A little whack at it, but it's re-picked back up for the Bruins by Mason Lohrei, the first ever NHL player to hail from the state of Louisiana. Carlo off for Lohrei. Lohrei will move this one up through the far side wall. Bobrovsky will lead this one behind. Reinhart there to scoop it up for Florida. It is moving forward. Ekblad can't clear it out. It is a good hold by the Bruins. Pasternak is out there. Elias Lindholm as well, but the Panthers are right there. Florida skates this out to neutral ice. Nearly 3 minutes in, the Panthers have all 3 shots. And they're in the zone now at the far corner. It's Barkov getting pinned to the wall by Zadorov and Zacha. Poke free. Lostorinen's there. Lostorinen taking on a ride by Zacha. Zacha wants to clear. Mikkola wants to hold, and he does for a moment before it's getting gloved down by Carlo and cleared out. Might have been touched by a high stick. No, they're going to say it's not. Kulikov right behind Bobrovsky. He'll aim it right side. Now it's centered to neutral ice. And this is dumped in off the stick of Korpisalo. Lostorinen down there. Lostorinen still working at the near corner. Bruins trying to clear. At the near side wall. Bruins with this is Trent Frederick, was playing center on the third line, by the way. Mikkola taking on to a right at the near corner. Bruins on the attack. They have the puck. They'll set it up to the point. Deep shot there. Bobrovsky turns it away for his first save of this night. Bouncing puck, it flutters out. And Carlo scoops it up. Lindholm sends it back in. Mikko is the first one there. From the near corner, will backhand this one around for Kulikov. Nate Schmidt is not on the lineup tonight. He is a healthy scratch. He signed with the Panthers in the offseason to reunite with Paul Maurice, who he was coached by with the Winnipeg Jets. Bruins pick it back up at their own zone. For the near side wall, Marchand leaves it behind. Now he gets a return feed, hounded by Evan Rodriguez, who is a Swiss Army knife on the Panthers, mostly utilized on that second line of Tkachuk and Bennett. Dumped in by Boston. Bobrovsky picks it up and will scoop it behind for Ekblad. Not a lot of action here. Just 4 shots there. The one by the Bruins did not count. All 4 shots by the Panthers. Korpisalo made all 4 saves. Turnover here. Shot for the point. and is gloved down by Bobrovsky, and officially he'll have his first save of the season.
And it took about almost 5 full minutes for Boston to get their first shot of the game again. It's just the opener here, but you could already see the Florida forecheck starting to cause some problems. We're used to seeing that out.
27 years as a head coach for Paul Maurice at this level. At the highest level of play, third year in Florida, but he's a well-respected head coach. 3 Stanley Cup final appearances, 2 in the last 2 years, and about 20 seasons right between finals appearances, as this one's blasted wide by the Bruins. Ekblad tried to scoop it up. Zacha's right there. Turnover. And a spinorama attempt by Lindholm was fought off by Bobrovsky, who, by the way, was a starting netminder in Columbus in 2019. Who was his backup that year? Jonas Korpisalo. Out front for Hagee. Shot from Titus wide. That was dangerously close to being the first goal of the year for the Panthers. From the near corner, set up at the left defense spot for Forsling. For Hagee at the trapezoid. Set up back front, a one-timer. Reinhart and Hampus Lindholm both went down simultaneously on the shot. And scooped up by Charlie McAvoy. An alternate captain for Boston, it's Pasternak now, who scored the overtime Game 7 winner against Toronto last season in the first round. To the left from Carlo, and it's moved up for the far side wall, bouncing puck up for grabs. It will be settled down by Bolinskis at his own zone at the near corner. Now moving up, and the Panthers were stopped from advancing it further. Picked up by Kepke, here we go! Here we go! Kastelik and Greer are going at it! They're throwing rights at one another! And Kastelik is thrown down in a victory for AJ Greer!
Oh my goodness, let's get the party started officially, AJ, with a couple of haymaker rights.
Yep. Alrighty. Hockey is bad, gentlemen.
Yes, it is, gentlemen.
We've seen haymakers before in the last game between St. Louis and Seattle. There was some scrappiness between them, but it's clear we may have a new rivalry brewing between the Bruins and the Panthers. Now we have a crowd by the penalty boxes.
I really like this, Alec, and I'm glad that you mentioned that too, because these two teams in the Atlantic, again, you had that reignition from the early round meeting in this previous playoffs in the calendar year, and then we immediately get it started there as the Zebras are going to try to figure out all the penalties that could be called. And again, I know you mentioned this a little bit earlier in that St. Louis-Seattle game. There was almost, I'm not going to say a line brawl, but there was a couple players that went for a line change, and then you had Vince Dunn try to take on the whole St. Louis Blues team.
Oh, he wanted some revenge on his former team, didn't he, John?
Yeah, it was pretty electric. That was a good hit on the other side for Boston. That's what started it all. But A.J. Greer, he looked like he was ready for that matchup.
Oh, he did. He wanted to take it for his new team, for his new club, willing to fight for his new coach. A tough coach to play for and a tough coach to play against.
Absolutely, and I'm getting that replay. I know you're a little bit ahead of me, but getting that replay there, Carter Verhaeghe able to finish off a huge hit and then be wide open near the back post. If he doesn't bobble that puck right away, Florida probably gets the first goal of the game.
Just stopped by Korpisalo in the nick of time off the shoulder pad. Here is Kulikov in his second stint with Florida, brought back on another one-year deal. And here is Kulikov getting the puck at the near corner. Set up pass in front for Bennett. He couldn't finish it. Kachuk sends this one backwards. Deep shot for the point. Bouncing puck, score! Bennett was in front. Got the rebound and banked it in. It's 1-0 Florida.
Yep.
That's hard-working sandpaper right there from Sam Bennett. Right out of the air, gets right to the dirty areas, and Florida's on the board.
Public enemy number 1 in Boston, as John Buccigross noted last as postseason when he did a swipe at Brad Marchand. Marchand didn't forget, but this looked like a wacky pinball up front after Korpisalo made the save. It went up for several feet. That usually, you don't see that happening, but it ended up behind Korpisalo. There's just no chance that Korpisalo stops this rebound.
No.
No, Brendan Carlo, man, he gets pretty much stick lifted as Bennett gets inside positioning off that bounce, and you're right, no chance for the netminder there.
It is 1-0 here at Sunrise in the Miami metro area. 20 goals last season. We'll see if he can match that total. Out front, Bruins trying to tie it. And Bobrovsky made the save there. 8 shot attempts for the Panthers. All of them have been on target. So talk about perfection thus far. And it harkens back to the years of the perfection line. We had Marchand and Pastrnak with Patrice Bergeron, who is still involved with the Boston Bruins in some capacity, you would believe. Deep shot from Ekblad. That whistled wide as Bolinskis will pick it up. Right behind that, Bolinskis is crushed. Oh, what a vicious hit. He had to feel his helmet after that. Sam Miskevich drops it back. Yeah, you noted that. Wouch. Luxtorinen around for the Boars on the right side. Set up pass in front. They score again. This time it's Luxtorinen is 2-0.
Uh-oh, Jonas Corpusalo. I'm getting a little worried here early in this season. Florida is starting to roll.
The Panthers, they're, listen, fellas, we just saw what the Blues could do in 1 minute and 55 seconds with 3 goals. And the Panthers have scored well before 1 minute and 55 seconds. So, let's see.
Alec, let me throw this out there. I know you probably agree with this because it's a couple goals the same way. There's too many Panthers in front of the net of Jonas Corpusalo. That's 2 goals he can't do anything on. Where's the Boston defense? They got to clear these guys out in front of the net.
He's just helpless in stopping these pucks because there's way too many Panthers at the front of the net. This is what Florida likes, to frustrate goaltenders when you have any Panthers setting up at the front of the net. First it was, oh, here comes another chance. Oh, that time it did not result in a goal. And the Bruins had to be breathing a sigh of relief as this rolls back into the Florida zone. But just like this first one, the second goal was something similar. Set up man at the front of the net. Bennett from Rodriguez, Luxtorinen on the second goal. Assists are pending on the ESPN box score. Takeaway by Tkachuk as he read the passing away at the near corner. Tkachuk bodied off by Beecher. Here's Lohrei to pick it up. Intercepted pass as the Panthers keep it in. Bennett right there. Rodriguez as well. Bennett went down. Loose puck will be picked up by Pasta. David Pastrnak moves it over. His center ice is gloved down. Here is Johnny Beecher trying to send this one in. Can't do it. Almost taken away. As the Bruins are back in their own zone, it is handled now by Andrew Peeke, another former Columbus Blue Jacket, alongside Jonas Corpusalo. They were teammates previously in Columbus. Nikita Zadorov moves in front for the far side. Bobrovsky is out to handle it from behind his net. Peeke is there, and this may be out of play. We're not sure where the puck is, but it's somewhere out there on the stands.
Hey, Alec, I know you see this right now on the scoreboard because you're calling it, but just give a shout-out just so we can laugh for the shots on goal here between Florida and Boston because this is ridiculous.
12-1. We're not seeing a typo here. 12-1. And we're not even halfway for the first period. That's a barrage.
Yes. And I mean, this is how I'm going to say it. We'll see what happens at the end of the first when I end up calling the second as well. And this, I probably already can go into the intermission conversation right now. We still got 11 minutes left to go on this opening frame. But if I don't see a pushback, even in game 1, I'm just going to say it now. I would be a little bit upset if I'm Jim Montgomery, and I might lay into the boys a little bit because, hey, we want to understand the measure of the moment. This is opening night. This is their banner drop. We know they're going to have momentum. We got to go out and bring it. There is no excuse to be flacked.
Absolutely not. Shooting one time towards the net is not going to win you a lot of games, especially against a Stanley Cup contender like the Florida Panthers. If you have Stanley Cup aspirations, you have to get more shots to the front of the net. Get some bodies right in front. Have someone impose their will. This could bring in Elias Lindholm, who was a force at the front of the net for Vancouver and Calgary in the last few seasons. Lindholm is a two-way defensive presence. You know who else you could bring to the front of the net? Your scoring depth. That may be questionable for them, but you would ideally have an underrated player like Justin Brazeau and his 6'6" frame to bring to the front of the net.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure that out, especially, I agree with you, on the back end lineups here for like Frederick, Jones, Brazo, and the mix of Lindell, Listerine, and Samoskevich. Again, I always punch that button on the third line there for the Panthers, but the way that they outwork you and able to fight to the puck, win battles, turn pucks over, that is something that they're very good at, and Boston's got to find a way to clean that up, and as we said, clean up the front of the net, because the craziest part right now, even though Zadorov maybe be guilty on one of those, Zadorov had one of the shots when he moonlighted as a forward, as he usually does, to get a chance right out in front of goal. So Boston needs to show more here, and they need to do it pretty quickly.
Yeah, they have to do so more and more. Florida, they had their vacation, but vacation's time is up. Alexander Barkov, by the way, he was going skateboarding like he's Tony Hawk over in Finland. That's a fun little vacation. And Matthew Tkachuk, he did visit his hometown of St. Louis. Oh, here we go. More gloves are down. McAvoy, Sam Bennett got tousled over. Trent Frederick does not have his helmet. Mikkola wants some words. This is going to get very ugly, John and Ian.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of what this score might be, and Ian, I'll let you go here in a minute. Regardless of what the score might be, I'm glad that we did this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this, you know, I figured that things were gonna be chippy early, because remember, you know, Boston still believes that they are the baddest of the bad in the Atlantic. For what reason, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, they're getting whooped up on. They're getting whooped up on right now. And if they don't, and as John pointed out, if they don't find a way to come back and make this a fight, I can't see things going well for them for the rest of the season.
That's a bold proclamation there, Ian. I'm not going to be far away from you here. I want to know one thing, and again, I know Alec will probably kind of swing both ways on this, but Florida is the measuring stick, correct? Because they won it all, but you have to be able to give your best. And again, that was almost a nasty hit as one of the teammates got underneath Tkachuk there. Florida's going to get a power play here, and if they can make it 3-0, then we can have a whole other conversation again.
On sportsmanlike conduct against Trent Frederick, they're saying at the 9:18 mark of the first period, so the first power play of the year for the Florida Panthers comes on that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. So it felt like Frederick and Tkachuk had a little tussle. I don't know of who grabbed whose stick, but that may have been the originator of that. Boston tried to clear it. They had the 7th best penalty kill in last regular season. The Panthers had the 8th best power play. Loose puck reaches the right circle, and a miscommunication between Matthew Tkachuk and Adam Boqvist, who was replacing Brandon Montour on the top power play unit. Montour signed that 7-year deal with Seattle. Oliver Ekman-Larsson signed a 4-year deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Boqvist hands off through the left side, now gets a return feed to the point. Here's Verhaeghe. From the top of the left point, we'll slide this one across, and Boqvist unloads one! Out in front, it's bouncing! Bruins trying to clear, and they do. That shot came in at 85 miles an hour, and it looked like the Bruins are going to beat out Boqvist to the puck. That was Zacha, who got in front and got a low jump ahead. So, one other question is who are to be the two power play quarterbacks? One, the answer is Boqvist. It seems that Aaron Ekblad is the second power play quarterback. He can contribute on offense. Brandon Montour is more of the offensive defenseman type. So is Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but they gave that defensive type under Paul Maurice. Back deep, here is Bolinski's handing off for Ekblad. This shot reaches Korpisalo. He'll hold on with 24 on the man advantage.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, Alec, because that's the only thing I could see right now for Florida as they get through their power play lines. Preseason, I don't think gets you accustomed to all of that, but Brandon Montour is normally the guy that makes everything go. Right now, he's a member with the Seattle Kraken, so that might be a little bit of an adjustment, but for everything else, I think Florida is going to be business as usual.
And I feel Florida would enter that adjustment period by inserting Boqvist on that top power play group, because offense is his main specialty. It just hasn't been unlocked with Chicago and Columbus in his time between those two teams. Back half of this power play, pass down low, now is a return feed for Bennett. Bennett flings one towards the net. There's a body down. Ekblad picks it up towards the point. Bolinski's. The loose stick is picked up, and the power play is over. Bolinski's from the point. One-timer for the right circle. Loose puck at the right of Korpisalo. And the Panthers trying to get this one down. Bolinski's is there to retrieve it at his own zone. At the near side, Lundell shut up but helped out by Rodriguez. It'll go down towards the near corner. Lundell in front. Korpisalo turned it away. Morgan Geekie, the ex-Kraken, to pick it up. Bouncing puck towards the near corner. To cut that pass off was Losterenas. Held inside. Losterenas stopped by Korpisalo off the blocker. Bruins pick it up. It'll be over at the far side. Boston going coast to coast as Forsman was there to shut that pass off. Bouncing puck through the middle. Chop forward. Bruins have it with 8 minutes to play. And his backhander over to the near side of the corners. Forsman there to cancel it out for a moment, but here is Lindholm. Lindholm turnaround shot. That may have been from an impossible angle, but still not a bad attempt nonetheless. But you need to fire these more towards Bobrovsky. Start testing him more because the shots are 14-1 Florida, and that power play only helped out. From the far side wall, deflected in front. Geekie was right there. Zacha knocked loose. And to hold it is McAvoy. Just the second time the Bruins fired a shot on goal. From the near corner, a double team, but this got away through the right point. Lindholm, a one-timer from the far side. Bobrovsky swallowed it whole. With 7:20 to go in the period, we'll have a stoppage.
This is the best play for the Bruins there is Bobrovsky able to slide over on a 1-2 from the left point. The shots are 14-3, and we're going to take a break. It's been all Panthers. They've been hungry out in front of the net. That's where they like to score their goals. They're up by a pair.
And by the way, it is 7-2 Mets. JD Martinez has scored in.
And why? Because it's the Mets.
I don't even know what to say to that, gentleman, because, look, the Mets have been hot on the NL side, kind of like the Tigers were, just to be able to get in. But I know that there's a bunch of stars on the other side for the Mets. And I know the Phillies might say they'd be disappointed if they don't get much farther here, but who's stopping this team right now? They look pretty good.
So far, so good as, wow. You wonder how they got this far, and we may be wondering how Francisco Lindor got into the NL MVP conversations. Late game heroics, along with his clutch defense. And I know he's a presumptive NL MVP runner-up because of the historic season of Shohei Ohtani and his 50-50 season, but Lindor deserves his love for getting this Mets team alongside the likes of Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, Mark Vientos, and company, along with Sean Manaea, Luis Severino getting some clutch performances as well, into getting to the postseason. They had a losing record at the beginning of June, but they were unstoppable ever since.
Yeah, like, you're not going to get any arguments from me, and I understand everything with Shohei, and the only thing I'll say, because he's going to win the MVP on that side, but the only thing I'd say is, even if he kind of cut that in half, the Dodgers would still be a comfortable playoff team. Without Lindor, they wouldn't even be in the playoffs.
That is true. Yeah.
So we're looking in between Jeremy Swayman and Linus Ullmark, 163 of 164. And I know Alec brought this up a little bit earlier, and I completely agreed with it alongside Jeremy Swayman. Again, he's not getting the start today, but just 44 games. Jonas Korpisalo is going to look to be the backup as Jeremy Swayman got that huge deal with some excellent numbers. But he's going to be ready for his workload to percolate a little bit. And considering the way that this game started, it's really not Korpisalo's fault, but this is maybe why they rested Swayman today.
Can't necessarily fault Boston for it. The logic may be understandable. As we get back into action here in the final 7 minutes of the first period, that the Panthers are playing on a tight structure defensively. There's another shot that reaches Korpisalo. He made a save. That's 15 shots that he has faced, stopping 13 of them. The Bruins have 6 giveaways to the Panthers 2.
Yeah, this is about as ugly as it gets. I guess if you're Jim Montgomery, I don't want to talk out both sides of my mouth. I guess he's hoping that he can half flush this first, but they know that they have to get this puck going the other way. And there are players that can get the job done for the Bruins. Let's not make any mistakes about that. We understand that, gentlemen, but we just need to see a completely different team here unless they're going to get run out of the building tonight.
Kastelik and Greer are back out there onto the ice after they had that fight earlier in this first period. This puck went out of play. Molinskis and Kepke side by side of each other. That players that previously were in the AHL.
I know it's going to be a weird question for me, but as I'm going through the center ice logo, I find it very hard to locate the cat. I know they're trying to do a sea of red down there a little bit, but I think they covered the logo a little bit too much.
Might have. Could have been in that case, but they wanted to go with a decoration similar to how the Vegas Golden Knights start this trend where they do center ice decorations. And to be frank, those decorations are beautiful. Shots 15-3 in favor of Florida. They've had the better shot attempts. Jesper Boquist hands out for Greer. Greer will go back. Here's Mikkola. Mikkola tried to shoot that one from tight. It didn't go all the way. Held inside by Adam Boquist, Jesper's younger brother. One of the Panthers went down. Jesper keeps it in. It goes around for the right point. We're rushing in. It's Verhaeghe, who is fresh out the bench. Verhaeghe to the front. Oh, did that one go in? Oh, no! I thought it went in for a moment, but it may have went in and out in a hurry, or it may have been wide. Just not sure. We have to check a replay about where this puck is went. Verhaeghe's back out there. Tried to set up in front. Now this goes to the left point. Mikkola, deep shot, bouncing puck. Barkov tried to deflect it inside. Verhaeghe's there far corner. Ex-Bolt, two-time Stanley Cup champ. Picked up by Reinhart, but he is smothered. Barkov will send it back. Mikkola, one-timer Kulikov. And this one was driven up. It's still in play. At the far corner, Beecher tried to get it out. Bruins have it. And trying to clear this one down. This may be off a stick, so that cancels out the icing. Mikkola picks it up with 5:17. Mikkola, the ex-Blue, through the far side. Moving through, and this one will be an icing. And indeed, shocker. Oh, Kachuk got smacked down by one of the linesmen. That's usually something you do not want to see. Only in WWE does that happen.
What is going on?
Well, you know what? This doesn't surprise me, considering what Florida has done to Boston in the past, just the past 2 years.
Yes.
You can just look. I mean, let's face it. Look, when we think about NHL memes, of course we look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? I get that. But let's not forget who the ultimate meme is.
Oh boy, now we have a cross-check. It's not the referee who it's doing. It's a cross-checking penalty against the Bruins, and it will be Nikita Zadorov.
I'm glad you put that in there, Alec, because I was going to say that was a pretty good push there by the Zebra to take Kachuk down to his board. That's not an easy man to take down as we go to break.
Yeah.
The linesman had us all completely faked out.
Yeah.
Well, very interesting start. I know you talked about it, Ian, as far as the meme situation. If I flipped it over to baseball on CBS and they ask Pedro Martinez who to call daddy, well, right now it's the Boston Bruins of the Florida Panthers because they're putting them in the blanket and putting them to sleep right now as we get toward the end of this first. It's pretty ugly right now, but it's been very entertaining with the action, the fights, a lot of shots, and I think that one that you called, Alec, as we said, banked off the top of the left post bar out.
There's one of one, and it is that those goals by Florida and getting to the front of that are key. I know this may not be a playoff game, but the Panthers are treating their goals like it's a playoff game.
I love that. Again, it's attention to detail. They've been ready to go since the puck drop. If you're Paul Maurice, you really can't ask for anything more, can you?
No, you can't. With Paul Maurice and a complete team around you, this may be the best team that we can see in the NHL, and they'll be up there in the Stanley Cup conversations. A lot of pundits may be thinking Edmonton, but as long as Florida is around, they'll be in this. Another team that I like to throw out, Vancouver. Similar style to what Florida brings.
And I hope for David Pastrnak, my God, we don't see that one again. As it the flashback to Pasta Kachuk going to a fight. You don't want to see Pasta throwing the gloves as Florida's got a power play.
When you piss him off, you may have made a mistake in which against the Boston Bruins. But for Zadorov, he'll have to sit down for 2 minutes. He does have a reputation of being a tough guy. And Don Sweeney wanted to address this offseason about potential reinforcements. And I know for a fact that Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov bring similar styles, not exact styles, to what Patrice Bergeron and Zdeno Chara once brought to Boston. Even if Zadorov is playing as a third pairing defenseman right now, though I feel like eventually you may have to put him up as a top pairing defenseman next to Charlie McAvoy. Panthers back on the power play with 1:38 on this man advantage. Less than 5 minutes to go, 4:45 on the clock. Adam Boqvist from the far side. Korpisalo may have gotten a piece of it. Carter Verhaeghe rushing to Barkov to help him out. And Adam Boqvist goes slipping. Oh my goodness, he took a hard hit towards the near side boards and he is knocked out cold. And the medical staff is coming in.
Oh, man. Did he get hit by the puck? Or what? I don't know what happened there for Boqvist, so you got to check on him. Everybody's rushing out now to his aid. That did not look good. He just slipped and he took a hard fall.
Oof. That was terrible. And the medical staff, well, good thing that the medical staff is here to assist him because that was ugly.
I don't know if he got hit by the puck. He got hit by an errant stick. He's got the towel near his mouth. I don't know if anything is bleeding with the chiclet set, but he took a hard fall off the camera shot as everybody's giving him the stick taps. We're going to have to see this on the replay.
Yeah, he got hit by the puck. I thought he initially slipped on his own, but he got hit by the puck up in the face.
Oh,
That
my
is
God.
so unlucky.
Pow right in the kisser. Oh.
Oof. That looked painful as we realized.
That's so unfortunate because it's like the puck is just going to travel that way as he's cutting across. It happens in the hockey, so it looks like he's going to be okay. But man, oh man.
Short-handed chance for the Bruins. They score! Lindholm to Zacha, and they cut the deficit to 1.
Wow, that's an interesting change of momentum that we had in calls. The Bruins will definitely take it. They kind of just took it back. A little bit of a pass there towards center ice to get things re-centered. And you know what? They caught the Panthers by surprise. It's easy to say considering the events that just took place. And Pavel Zacha's pretty happy about the turn of events.
Yeah, he has to be very happy with that. Elias Lindholm, who they got in the offseason, and I did mention similar attributes to Patrice Bergeron, not an exact replica, but he does bring defensive tenacity. Power play still active here despite the shorty from Zacha and Elias Lindholm. The Panthers trying to get set back up as we monitor the status of Adam Boqvist in the meantime. And also, meanwhile in Citi Field, the Mets have just taken the victory 7-2 and take a 2-1 series lead as the Panthers are back in the zone. Ekblad hands off, took a while to reach Kachuk. Down low is Reinhart, finds Barkov behind the net. Andrew Peeke is right in front, trying to find Reinhart, can't do much of that. Ekblad will fill in as the top power play quarterback while Boqvist sits down. 33 on the clock. Ekblad's out there, he's starting to get double shifted. Spinorama while down on his knees. Handoff right behind as the Panthers cruise in. Bouncing puck cleared out by Boston. And going back with this, it's Anton Lundell. 3:28 in the period. Lundell skates it up. To the right side. Bounced off a stick. Lundell arrived there first. Hampus Lindholm also there. Right behind the net. Bruins pick it up. And if they clear this out one more time, it'll be a successful kill. And it will be. Well, Jim Montgomery has to be very happy with that. It's not only do they kill off the penalty, but they also get a shorthanded goal to draw themselves closer to the Panthers, but they still need to fire more towards the net. It's a 1-goal game, and they're very lucky to be in this. Save made by Korpisalo with 2:59. He'll hang on.
I think you said it right, Alec, because considering the way that this game was going, I don't want to jump all over the place. I think we made all the right calls. That kind of feels like 2 for the price of 1, especially when you score shorthanded because the Panthers have been playing so well, and all of a sudden the Bruins are right back in this game.
And speaking of right back in this, well, 5 shots as opposed to the Panthers 15. The Panthers will have to wonder, since when did Lee last fire on goal? Because it has to be forever. It did get some shot attempts, but it hasn't been on target. Plus, with the departure of with the departure of Montour, we would also have to ask a pressing question on Nico Mikwa. If he can drive a defensive pairing and drive the offense, because he's more of a hard-hitting type of defenseman and more of a defensive type, not an offensive type. Moving in now for the Bruins, it is Brad Marchand. Marchand trying to slip and slide around. Penalty arm is in the air. Handoff. Kulikov will touch up. The Bruins will go to the power play for the first time.
Well, Ian, I never thought we would be in this situation considering where the game was. Now the Bruins have an opportunity to possibly tie this thing before the first period ends.
It would be... it would be unprecedented these times that the Bruins will have an opportunity to tie this up on special teams. Power play's been a weakness for the Bruins last season, but penalty killing has been a strength. They had a more defense-oriented approach last year, and this may continue on, but given that they added Lindholm in the offseason, it can help. He is centering this top face-off unit. The Panthers win the draw. Bruins will have a power play for approximately the rest of this period, but it may be unless if the Panthers can kill it off before right around the 30-second mark. The PK last year was 6 in the NHL for Florida, and against this Bruins team, who knows? Here's Pasternak holding on to it. This goes back over to McAvoy. McAvoy deep point. Bobrovsky's right there to stop the deflection. Just hold on to it.
That was a pretty good save there by Bobrovsky. Zacha trying to get his second of the game. Again, as you mentioned there with Lindholm kind of spearheading this first part of the power play. You got McAvoy, Marchand. It's a very dangerous unit. You know, they got to be energized a little bit from that latest goal.
In the meantime, here's Pete Alonso joining the MLB on FS1 crew in the post-game interview. The Dodgers and Padres are set to go in Game 3 in just a moment as McAvoy hands off for Marchand at the right circle. And back for Marchand from behind the net. Marchand to the top. Now it's down low. Back for Marchand from the dot. Marchand fires. Roots in front. Score! And we have a bro afterwards. Is this going to be waved off is the question.
All sorts of traffic. We'll figure that out in a moment, Alec. I'm not even sure if that went in or what was going on right now. So we'll see. The Zebra's going to have to figure some of this out.
Well, off the initial shot, it banked off the post. And Elias Lindholm, it was loose for a moment. Oh, no, it did not cross the line. So it remains a 2-1 game.
Bobrovsky. Hey, dude, Sergei Bobrovsky.
Yeah, I think he answered the call there.
And Marchand Higgins backstopped by Sergei Bobrovsky with a grade A chance from the right circle. That's his go-to spot. Panthers pick it up. Could be a shorthanded chance the other way. Sam Reinhart, he's moving in. He fires. He scores! Right back at you, says Reinhart. A shorty of his own. It's 3-1.
You know what? I'm going to say it right now, Alec. That looked a la Game 7. Finishing that one off to give the Panthers the lead that ultimately ended up winning that one. He's just going to take that coast to coast after Bobrovsky stands all over his head, and the Panthers back up by 2.
Oh, man. And afterwards, he falls down, rolls back, is getting tripped up, finally falls, rolls backwards, lands on his skate, and says, yep, I meant to do all that.
That's the I am him moment there for Sam Reinhart. He took it himself and blew it past Charlie McAvoy, one of the better defensemen in the league. That's the first shorthanded goal for Reinhart on the year. He had 5 of those last season of the 57 in which he has scored. And the Panthers do the job again on the penalty kill. So far, it's not been the power play that's been thriving. It's the penalty kill that's been thriving. What a storyline here in this first period as we head to the final minute. Bobrovsky keeps it out. Charlie Coyle's right there. He drops it back over to the point. Mason Lohrei from deep. Bobrovsky turns away to sophomore. 50.2 to go.
This is ridiculous, gentlemen. I mean, come on. We've had 2 shorthanded goals already in one game. We're not even done with the first period.
It's absolute insanity here. And for Reinhart, who stayed on an 8-year, $69 million contract. We were thinking that he would take at least $10 million in free agency. Well, he wanted to go on a team-friendly deal. Prove his worth.
Yeah, I think for that and 57 goals in the back end, I'll let you go, Arian, but that's a great deal. That's a good term.
Oh, yeah.
Off the face-off, Andrew Peeke trying to keep this one in. He's inserted at the tail end of this power play because it's about to expire. Peeke across, and he'll get the return feed. Peeke over to the slot. The backhand from Frederick turned away by Bobrovsky. And this power play is over. And here's Sam Bennett, who takes this one through. AJ Greer, Kerwin drag. Korpisalo to save, and they score again! Back to back! How about that? It's 4-1.
That's another rebound, and Sam Bennett's got a wide open cage for his second of the game. The Panthers are unrelenting.
Ooh, man, this is if this was ugly before, this just went from being ugly to looking like a I'm trying to find a good segue. I'm trying to find a good segue here. Yeah. Here it is. If this was ugly before, we just introduced the Elephant Man.
Wow. 2 goals in a minute for the Panthers. That's how quick it was. As we go to the final 10 seconds of this first period, and there are so many questions to ask as Jesper Boquist, he'll try one of his own. Bouncing puck, it'll be collected by Jesper to end up the first period. And for Jim Montgomery, do you stick with Korpisalo for the remainder of this game, or do you go with Jeremy Swayman to start the second?
I'm going to say this right now, Alec, to answer your question. I think you already committed to it. I think Korpisalo's going to get tossed the hand grenade today. I think he's going to stay in.
Yep. Plus, let's look at it the other way, though. Even if you were to sub in a Swayman, that would imply, you think your offense is going to score enough to try to be able to come back and win this game. I don't think that happens.
Let me say this too, Alec, and then I'll let you get the reset, and I'll help you with all that stuff too, because I'm just enjoying this game. But let's not mince words here. As Boston ended up making it 2-1, scoring the first shorthanded goal of the game. What did Sergei Bobrovsky do in that last stretch, correct? 4 or 5 saves to making a goal line stand, keeping it from being a 2-2 game. It could have been tied. Let's not forget that going into it. It's easy to do so. And then Florida just Katie bar the door again. 2 more of those, and it's 4-1 after 1. Sergei Bobrovsky had a pretty good stand. I think he's the main reason, too, why this game is where it is.
10 saves on 11 shots faced, with the Bruins turning up the heat later in the game. Though that scoring depth may be leaving the Bruins a little snake-bitten, because when you look at that bottom 6 in the forward core, you'll think advantage Panthers, because you would believe that some names on that bottom 6, they're not familiar names. Some may get the job done. We know about Trent Frederick, but what about the others? Justin Brazeau, Mark Kastelik, Johnny Beecher, and I'm paying close attention to Beecher on his second full-time year, because he was one of the prospects for Boston, which I was looking at.
Yeah, and I don't know how long it's going to take, Alec. I know you probably have more information than I do. When do they think they might get Matthew Poitras back?
So he continues to be out with that lower body injury. I'm just not sure when exactly he's going to come back. In fact, I could look it up now on Poitras and his progress.
Because I know they might not fast-track it because we're right at the beginning of the year, but I think it's a great point that you bring up, because when you have that back-end depth that you're supposed to have, I don't think it's there right now. And again, we can make the same argument for Florida, bringing all the new same blood, but it's a veteran coach alongside Paul Maurice that kind of has everybody playing that same system. I don't think there's any question marks in what to do back and forth on their side. But for the Bruins, I know it's Florida, so I'll measure my expectations a little bit and give them some games. But man, oh man, that was not a clean 20 minutes.
It was not. And for Poitras, they're monitoring him day to day. They said he has some sort of an illness.
Okay, so we'll continue to monitor that. I imagine when Poitras gets in the lineup, I mean, he's at worst a third-line pairing center, so that's something, a big piece that they'll be able to get back. So how did it start to how it's going? Well, it started at Amaranth Bank Arena with the Florida Panthers dropping their banner for the first time in franchise history. And then maybe the first 5 minutes we're waiting for some shots on goals, and then once the pilot light was turned on, that was it, and that was all for the first. Sam Bennett inside positioning on the defense from Evan Rodriguez at 6:27 as he buries in the in-close rebound. Itulis Turinen pretty much a minute later from Anton Lundell and Sam Reinhart. It was a penalty against the Panthers. Short-handed Pavel Zacha off a good one-time setup from Elias Lindholm at 15:33 from Andrew Peak. And then Sam Reinhart says, I can get a short-handed goal as well near the end of the period from Alexander Barkov, his first, probably one of many. And then Sam Bennett, those are the killers at the end of it. 19:34, just about 30 seconds left to go in the period from A.J. Greer as you get another rebound opportunity. Bennett's already got 2. This is Sam Bennett's type of game, whether it's playoffs or regular season, anything with some intrigue, he's going to get up, he's going to bang in some rebounds, get in your face, and oh, by the way, put a couple goals in the back of the net. It's all Florida, 4-1. Sergei Bobrovsky, 10 of 11, and Jonas Korpisalo got the start today. He's got a 765 save percentage because he's only stepped 13 of 17.
As we look forward to what can proceed for the rest of the season, this is indeed a Florida Panthers type game. Hard-nosed, gritty, and not stopping with a relentless motor. That they have completely taken over this first period shows wonders as to what they can do. Bobrovsky and his defensive prowess, the shorthanded penalty kill, working wonders. Reinhart leaned away for the 3-1 goal. And then right after that, you have Sam Bennett with his second. Hard-nosed, gritty mentality. And with A.J. Greer, of all people, setting that up just when he came out the penalty box as well. Yet also, we got the final score, the rundown, the 7-2 Mets victory. Pete Alonso, Jesse Winker, solo shots to right in the 7th. Starling Marte and Jose Iglesias had base hits to center. So the first one is Alonso and Nimmo to make it 4-0. Then 6-0, scoring in Bader and Nimmo. The Phillies tried to make a run in the 8th. Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos scoring Edmundo Sosa and Kyle Schwarber. But Francisco Lindor calmed it all down. An RBI double scoring in JD Martinez. Final score 7-2. And congratulations to Sean Manaea on his first career postseason victory.
I was looking at some of the stuff for Sean Manaea, and I was watching that game, getting ready for this one because I already had the notes all set up. They were talking about him going on the left side of the plate in the pitching mound, getting warmed up, and then throwing to the right side for the catcher to try to get that cross-arm delivery a la Chris Sale. That's what he worked on a little bit before he moved over to the Mets this year, and that's kind of made him a brand new pitcher as he's just been sparkling during the regular season, and as you said, gets his first playoff victory.
Yeah, he wanted to rely on that Chris Sale type pitching in arsenal, and it's worked wonders for him. So meanwhile, the Utah Hockey Club, they're getting introduced here at Salt Lake City, and PK Subban is interviewing Sean Durzi, who was in the final year of the Arizona Coyotes before they relocated to Utah to become the Hockey Club. We don't know what the exact name is. Some are speculating that it's the Yetis, and perhaps the actual name is secretly inside a padlock, but we don't know what it is. It's the Utah Hockey Club right now. Utah Yetis does make sense, but for whatever speculation that the true name of the Utah Hockey Club will be, they're excited for hockey at Salt Lake City, and they can't wait to begin play against the Chicago Blackhawks.
I can imagine after this one's done and they figure out the festivities for the Panthers and then they put that Stanley Cup back in a padlock, that they have a big piece of paper underneath it with Utah's hockey name.
And now we have the signs going up. One of them said NHL and ESPN in Utah. Thank you, Bucci, Levy, and Melrose. There was another down at Amaranth Bank Arena that said, even a hurricane can't stop the Panthers.
That's a really good sign there. And again, as we talk about in the open, we feel for everybody down in Florida. Hopefully a little bit of solace here, a little bit of recovery there for the Panthers as they've opened up a can here on the Bruins as we're getting through the intermission. And again, this is going to be an easy question for the Panthers, and I think we'll all be in agreement of what the ultimate goal is. It's to try to get to the Stanley Cup Finals for a third straight time and figure out the end goal to try to win it all. But I think for the Bruins, I'm not going to say today is just a reality check, but maybe I should. But for the Bruins, they can still be very competitive. But the Atlantic is just continuing to get better, isn't it?
It is. You have the Bruins still as there. The Panthers are still a force to be reckoned with. The Maple Leafs, they want to break the funk of losing to the Bruins every time in the playoffs. With the addition of Tanev and Ekman-Larsson at their disposal. They want to figure out what to do with Nick Robertson because the trade request is still active. They lost Tyler Bertuzzi to Chicago in the offseason, but you still brought back Max Domi. You also have a new head coach at your disposal with Craig Berube, and that's a very smart hire. He's challenging his players to play like it's a Game 7 every time. All jokes aside about the losses and all that, let's say this. Having Berube out at the helm is going to mentally challenge these Leafs players to the fullest. I know Berube, outside that Stanley Cup, his track record hasn't been all that impressive, having reached the second round just once, that coming in 22 with St. Louis, but he does have that Stanley Cup. And with him, you have an experienced head coach who can get the job done.
And most importantly, Alec and Ian, it commands respect, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about, Alec asked me about this hire for the Leafs in hiring Craig Berube when they first hired him, and I believe a Leafs fan also asked me, and I told them, look, Craig Berube in his last year with the Blues. He was on a team that was headed toward a rebuild, and it was. They had pretty much, they had just sold off their, enough, like, they had just traded their core, right? It looked like they were headed toward a very hard and risky reload, and you know what? It was due. I mean, truth be told, they were going to win again with Berube, but again, we've seen what he can do when he has a talented roster. When it looked like the Blues were dead in 2019, yes. They were last in the league. It looked like they were going to be trading everyone then. He comes in as the interim coach, and he says, we're not giving up. We're going to get this done. And then they rattle off, I forget the actual number, but basically they go on a very long winning streak. They climb back into playoff contention, get into the playoffs, and we know the story from there. Game 7 in Boston.
Yeah, and you go out and you get the most of your players, correct? So now you have Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Willie Nylander, Morgan Riley, the guys that have been there for the core, alongside John Tavares. Get the most out of these guys. Get them to take the next step. Get some key goals. Know what to do in situations. Make sure that you're on your assignments. I mean, there is no questions about what's expected of you. And I think that they will get all of that in order. And I think that's a very good pickup there for Berube to try to get all that settled. As far as everything else in the Atlantic, and again, I will get to Alec's team probably in the second intermission as we'll flip to the Metro, because I do want to ask him about the Penguins in a little bit. But I don't know how I feel about it, because Steven Stamkos is a member of the Nashville Predators, but Jake Getzel is a Tampa Bay Lightning man. That looks a little bit different to me. How does Tampa going to look?
Feels like they're going to be back for another playoff run. When it looked like they're usually loyal to their players, well, they did keep Victor Hedman around, but not Steven Stamkos. Stamkos went elsewhere, Nashville on a 4-year deal, $8 million a year. Now you'd be thinking that you keep Stamkos around. And getting Gensel, you get a player of a similar caliber to Stamkos in terms of goal scoring and power play production. But Gensel, he has a little bit of more upside on the defense. It's not saying much given Gensel is on and off defensively, but Tampa wants to keep that same defensive integrity. And also hoping that Ryan McDonough, he can maintain the defensive form, given that he is in his mid-30s. 35 if I remember correctly. And then you lose Mikhail Sergachev in that trade, but you do get J.J. Moser in return. And perhaps someone who can crack the roster in either this year or in future years in Connor Geekie. That's an intriguing prospect to watch over. Tampa's not going anywhere, and I figure that they'll be still in the playoff conversation.
I know that there was a lot going on for the Carolina Panthers as far as who to sign, money. Brady Shea's also a member now, I believe, of the Nashville Predators, but I know Don Waddell was the GM there. Now he's not. But you think about Jake Gensel, again, I'll just make this one last point. For Carolina and their playoff run, I know it didn't end the way that they wanted it to, but Jake Gensel was the absolute man. And I know it's a salary cap league, and it's going to be tough to deal with, but how do you not get Jake Gensel still as a member of the Hurricanes?
That's what I wonder.
Well, I mean, in Tampa, and it's funny that you mentioned Tampa because I get it. They want to continue this as long as they can, but I'm telling you, at some point, look, if things don't work this season for them, John,
yeah,
at some point, Tampa Bay has to consider hitting the big red reset button. Because, no team wants to do it, but the last thing, and I know, and you know what I'm about, you know what this is like, because your team went through it. The last thing you want your team to do is to try and keep it going past when it should. To try and keep that window open. Because eventually, it's going to close on you.
Yeah, whether you wanted to or not, you want to try to get out in front of it. If we had more time during the intermission, I would ask Alec about the Penguins, but I know I'm going to be doing that in a second because it's another team that we're going to have a conversation on. But just shout out very quickly, I guess Ray Ferrara goes on a private plane to Seattle and now making his way to Utah to call 2 games. What a life.
Wow.
Double duty in real life.
He's calling both boys. Yeah.
Oh, the kind of Kevin Harlan line.
He's technically calling both games.
So the only other action that we had today, again, we talked about the Kraken and the St. Louis Blues. I didn't get a chance to see, and did I get this correctly? Were the games in Prague between Buffalo and New Jersey?
Yes, New Jersey won both of them.
So, yeah, they got a couple good wins on the season to get stuff started on the right foot. If we want to talk about a team that's trying to make a bounce back, I think New Jersey would be one of those teams that qualify. It's going to be very hard to try to make the playoffs, I think, if you're some of these teams that are right on the bubble. So we'll be interested to see how the rest of this season continues to go. Again, as we said, we got Utah at home from their relocation from Arizona, taking on the Chicago Blackhawks today. And then we do have a slate of games. One will be very critical to Alec and one that I will be watching for my late one. And the Rangers and the Pens as they'll open at PPG Paints on TNT at 7:30 Eastern.
Yeah, also in the baseball side, we got the Dodgers and the Padres in about half an hour. Some storylines to look. Jake Cronenworth trying to snap his hitless streak in the postseason. 0 for 13, looking for his first hit. Walker Buehler looking for his first win since May 18th. And Mookie Betts looking to snap a hitless streak of 22 straight at-bats.
That just doesn't even seem real when you say that out loud.
It doesn't. Not to mention that in the last 3 postseasons, he has a batting average of .085, which also doesn't seem real when looking at it, especially with the 2020 he had with the Dodgers and the 2018 with the Red Sox.
Yeah, there's too much protection in that lineup. Again, I'm looking at the probables. Just humor me here for a moment. But Otani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, Muncy, Will Smith, Gavin Lux, Tommy Edman, who they picked up, and then Miguel Rojas. I mean, that's 1 through 9. You can talk about depth all the way through. There's too much work to do there, I think, for the Dodgers to not figure it out. Things got heated, and they were throwing things at Dodger Stadium. I know we're not going to get that in San Diego, but that's not a good look for the fans.
No, it's not. Especially since, if we recall, in that game it was Jurickson Profar, who was the left fielder for the Padres. He made that insane robbery catch to fool out the entire crowd and Mookie Betts himself into thinking that he scored a home run. Well, Profar catches it in over at left field, right near the stands, and he just stared them down casually while jumping up and down, just letting them celebrate while he has the baseball this entire time.
So I know that you're going to be a little bit ahead of me on this play-by-play, so I guess I will get a chance to close today. But you will close, and I will call the rest of this second as the shot goes back mercifully to Korpisalo. He had a lot of vulcanized rubber in his grill. We will get an icing here to start against the Bruins. They had 20 minutes to think about what just last happened. Right now, as it is in reality, it's 4-1 as we're just starting the second period for the Cats.
5:30 of offensive zone time for Florida, with 2:58 for Boston on the other hand. 30-17 are the shot attempts. The shocker here is the shorthanded goals that each team has exchanged, one apiece. When we thought this would be a war of attrition of power plays, well, not so much. And last postseason, once the Panthers, they grab a lead, they did not let it go.
That is absolutely ridiculous. Again, how hard is that to actually do, especially when you're playing in the postseason, as Florida continues to be hyenas on hamburger meat? This is stuff near the right side of the post, and Korpisalo's got that from good work from Anton Lundell.
Lundell, the third-line center, anchoring this, he got that 6-year extension. And he is being tasked by Paul Maurice to drive this third line, which he does a good job of doing. But he has yet to replicate a season similar to his rookie season in 22. But he and Luostarinen are two good centerpieces to build on that at third line. Fellow countrymen, if you ask. Both are from Finland. And Lundell, he almost got that one in. These two know a thing or two about having chemistry between them.
I'm absolutely with you there, Alec. Again, I think their production will come because they always work hard. The main thing is they seem to win every shift and keep the scoreline where it is. That's where it's most important as we get an offsides.
And Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk back out there. They can wreak havoc at any time, but also wreaking havoc. You believe that Brad Marchand will be wreaking havoc for them still to this day, but he's 36, and the main question about him, how much does he have left in him?
That is the main question here. He's going to want to try to get another Stanley Cup before it's all said and done. But again, as we talk about in the Atlantic, things are really difficult. In the Metro, there's a ton of good teams. The East is always hellacious as far as all of that. But the West has been making a good run, especially if you're a playoff team in the Pacific. You seem to go pretty far. Here is a good opportunity for Florida, but that goes just out in front of the stick of Niko Mikkola. And now Boston will just shoot this one from 100 feet. This will take a pinball right to the Cats. Pick it up now for Charlie Coyle. Long slapper. Goes down in front. A couple whacks at it. And I think the net, I don't know if it's going to go off its moorings. I guess the play is still alive. The peg kept it in there. Here's Zadorov. Wrister. This one bounces off the backboards. Florida now in desperation trying to get this out of their own end. And this will be picked off in between the dots. Good skate ahead from Tkachuk. Now Evan Rodriguez off the drop. Here's Chucky. Cross pass. Give and go. Number 19's got it. He'll just lollipop it toward Korpisalo, and he will hold too long, so they'll blow the whistle.
It just feels like a shot. It does just feel like a soft shot from Tkachuk that was going wide. Not too much attack into this, but the Panthers, they want to just play protecting this lead. Bobrovsky did a good job of turning away Geekie twice. Geekie thought he had it right in front at that second attempt. Just flared to the right off of Bobrovsky's glove, right before Geekie was decked from behind by Bennett.
Yes, he was. He was trying to pick up that puck while being checked him almost between his legs. Here's a slapper from Ekblad, and that one is solved by Korpisalo as it goes near around the end boards. Verhaeghe, backhand, he gets stick lifted. Here's Florida trying to pressure a little bit. One of the Panthers is absolutely down. Trying to pick this up now is Reinhardt as he'll go pick up his stick. Ekblad now toward the left side red line. Forsling sends it across. Here's a one-timer. Gets blocked. Gustav Forsling will watch near the right side dot as the Florida forecheck is unrelenting. Verhaeghe, this is another slap check, goes wide of the right post. Boston just hemorrhaging, trying to get this out of their own end. Good reverse hit from A.J. Greer. As Reinhardt got all banged up, his chin strap was all moved around. He's holding onto his side as we get a camera shot and a whistle on an offside.
They're going to check on Reinhardt's status. He did take a big hit at the attacking zone. The training staff is looking at him to see what was the exact type of hit. Yeah, he got shoved from behind by Elias Lindholm, and that caused him to drop his stick. Definitely felt some discomfort on that back area. They'll look at him, but ouch.
Second in the NHL in goals, only behind Austin Matthews, who had 69. Reinhardt 57 goals for the Florida Panthers as he kind of ignited everything for the Cats. 20 shots on goal to 15. I guess that's the one thing I can say in the play-by-play that's been lost in it for the Bees, but the reason why, they're down by 3. It's 4-1. We're at Amerant Bank Arena. John Hunter with you alongside Alec Nava and Ian Genji as the usual customers are back here for the banner night. Again, it's the second time that Alec and I get to do this. It wasn't quite the slot machine drop that it was for the Vegas Golden Knights, but still pretty good. Here's another attack for the Panthers. Korpisalo, full sprawl. It's underneath him, and the Panthers trying to whack it across the goal line. I think the refs are going to say no. Samoskevich was the last to it.
I don't know how that did not cross the goal line right on time, but I would believe Joonas Korpisalo will respond and saying, hey, I got some gas left in me. Even if I don't have a full tank, I got some gas left in me. That's what I believe that he is saying. He stopped that one from going all the way through with, as I can trying to get a number, Anton Lundell creeping in close and Mackie Samoskevich. Hey, your boy from Michigan as well.
Yeah, I always love to hear about that for the U of M man. Again, as you mentioned, for Mackie Samoskevich, one of the ones that you want to watch. You think he's probably going to get some third, fourth line time this year. You get a little bit of a promotion. You got to be able to show up. That's a good work. Another face-off win. This time Boston able to get that one out. Florida, this will be stick chopped. And now it'll be last touched again, so we'll get another whistle. 16:58 in the second. I think we'll get a commercial break or at least a half and half. As they're showing everybody walking down the blue carpet for the Utah Hockey Club. We're just waiting on their name next year. Right now with Utah and the bluish emblem and hue, that's what we got for this year.
Yeah, and Clayton Keller being named the franchise's first captain, technically speaking, for the Utah Hockey Club. First time since Oliver Ekman-Larsson for the Utah franchise to have a captaincy.
Again, Connor Bedard will be another one of those to watch. Per usual, 22 goals, 61 points. Again, he missed some time with injury, but he's absolutely electric. Get a chance to watch him live this year, so I'll be happy to talk about that in another month, as this one will get sent down to Korpisalo toward the right side red line, as this will be Nikita Zadorov off an outstretched pass. Clubbed out of the air. Off the spin and turn. Panthers trying to find it now. Cole Koepka here for the Bees. Starting to get a lot of whistles here in my play-by-play. I just want to get a flow.
Oh, I don't know what's going on here. Why the whistles are coming up all of a sudden, but it's nothing. It's not like there's a brawl or anything because we haven't seen any fights since the first period. Even though for as much entertainment value it provides between AJ Greer and Mark Kastelik, with Kastelik and Greer dropping their right-handed haymakers and Greer winning that battle. So as soon as those gloves were dropped, you can say that it gave a morale boost to the Panthers and it energized them for the remainder of that first period.
Yeah, there was a lot of it. There was two to be, in fact. Cole Koepke is going to be in the box. Again, I hadn't seen what it just says minor right now. I hadn't seen what the call is on the ESPN box. 3:32 marker. So the Panthers get another power play opportunity. Right now it's a hook against Jonah Gadjevich. As Kachuk is able to keep this alive away from the stick lift. Good work, Ekblad. Will send a D off the wall. This will get funneled toward the net. This will bounce off the backside of the cage. Sasha Barkov trying to get in between the zebra and now Reinhardt. Back out on the ice after taking that spill. Here's a one-on-one. Brad Marchand, sauce pass. Here's the look toward the left side of goal. Bobrovsky was near the right dot. Somehow made the save on Coyle. Cats the other way. This goes right to the gut, and it'll be sent back down the ice. Not sure how Bobrovsky got a piece of that, but maybe he can take an actual breath now. As Ekblad will settle it down. He's got the A on his sweater. He's had that for a while. 2 shorthanded goals. No power play goals just yet, but anytime with special teams, we've been seeing action in this game. And could you believe it, the Bruins open up their scoring with a shorthanded goal, but it's still 4-1 Florida. As this is near the right side blue line, McAvoy spin and turn, took a unfriendly bounce. It's going to be wide open in the middle, but this will get blocked off one of the Panthers. Nikita Zadorov. Here's a 3-on-2 if they hurry for the Bruins. Try to settle it down. It took too long to manufacture. Then McAvoy lost it in between his skates. As this will be sent back in behind for the Cats. They'll start it again and take their change. So Paul Maurice has got to be head over heels from what he's seen right now. Again, I should kind of low down my tenor of the words. You got to be happy with what you have, though, because from the start of the puck drop, they've been ready to play this game. Evan Rodriguez, he'll lose it. It'll be an easy clear for Jim Montgomery's squad. Bobrovsky. Pick this one back up now. 5 seconds left to go on the Florida power play. Doesn't look like they're going to find anything out of it just yet. As they'll cleared it from 100 feet safely across the red line. Lindell will watch. He's near the right side dot. Here comes the 1T. This one gets blocked. Boston could be off to the races here on a 2-on-1 cross pass for Koepke, just out of the box, too far for him. Sam Bennett got a couple in this game as Pasta gets a puck retrieval. This gets fanned on. Pasta now trying to pick it up from the right side red line off his back skate. Now using his backhand to the right side wall just to try to make something happen, but Brandon Carlo's got to be the last man back to get to it. Carlo on the left side red line as this will circle back in for an icing with 13:54 in the second.
It's strange to see that the only special teams goals are shorthanded goals twice that we have seen this. But not a lot here happening in this second period, but the Bruins, they had some good looks shorthanded. Marchand fighting Coyle, but Coyle couldn't tuck this into the open net, and Cole Koepke had a look inside. The best one came from Coyle, and he beat out the edge of Bobrovsky on the left skate, but no more than that.
Yeah, he got off the edge of the left skate, and the puck was just rolling end over end just before that red line. He couldn't get it past, as you said. It was Bobrovsky taking up just enough space. As the action's getting underway, Brandon Carlo finishes a couple of hits. Florida will send this around the end boards. 13:35 left to go on the second. We've not had a goal in the second, but it's still 4-1 Panthers. It's been their game from the word go. As soon as the puck dropped, once that banner hit, it was all the energy. Here's a break. Opportunity. Good back check for Niko Mikkola. He denied a breakaway opportunity. Lucerina loses it to Zadorov as they're showing Mikkola there off the camera shot, and for good reason. Bobrovsky now will settle it down. Pick it up now off the back skate across the left side red line and sent in for yet another icing.
And Niko Mikkola, for the questions we have offensively of him driving the second pairing, he is good in the defensive zone in his own right.
Yes.
There he shut down a breakaway chance for Max Jones, former Duck, with the outreach stick, and just poked it away right on time. Did not quip the skates of Jones one bit. That's maintaining your excellent discipline onto the ice.
Perfectly said there, Alec. That was a poetry as far as a stick check. Here's a chance that goes pinballed on the back side of the cage. Hampus Lindholm, former Duck, he's been a Bruin for a while now. As Coyle sends this one across from a severe angle. Lindholm D-to-D near the right side dot. Bruins shoot it through the funnel of screens. And this one now goes to the Cats. They'll elect for a long flip and across center ice, and they'll go ahead and take their change for Paul Maurice's squad. 12:35 left to go in the second. Adam Boquist left the game in the first for the Cats. 2 shots, about 4:40 at ice time. Still hasn't been on the ice, so that means that the Panthers are down to 5D, but it is just game 1, so you should have the fresh legs. Bobrovsky will send a pass. I think he's going to ice it on himself. No, they'll say someone else last touched it, so Zadorov. That was a full sail clear, and Zadorov lost it to one of the Panthers. Spin and turn now for Trent Frederick. Now to Nikita. He went from the Flames to the Canucks, now to the Bruins. Him alongside Elias Lindholm. He's got those long deals. They got plenty of money. Here's an egregious giveaway from Bobrovsky. And what a diving shot block on the other end for the Cats to save a goal. My goodness. Jones now trying to set up Zadorov. And that goes wanting outside of the zone. Bobrovsky had to be breathing a sigh of relief. I know it's still a 3-goal score line. But you can't have that because you don't want to give the Bruins any life. Opportunity now at center ice here for the Bruins, but they'll have to settle back off their back skate as the Florida forecheck. The neutral zone has been pretty good. Hampus Lindholm now for Pasta. With the left side red line, Serenen off his back skate gets a partial intercept, but it's Carlo off the back pass. And the Bruins can start again from right to left. Again, they are in the road whites with the black typing. Mackie Samoskevich eludes a hit. Finish a hit. Lundell goes flying on a reverse hit. As the Bruins, it's still busy in their own end. Pavel Zacha needs some help. He's just got to throw it into an empty area near the right side red line. And the Bruins can look to start again. Finish off a hit. Intercepted by the Panthers. Here's a one-on-one. Developing. Scores! A perfect cross pass! And it's 5-1!
Jesper Boqvist leads this rush. As after Adam went down with the injury, Jesper Boqvist had one thing in mind: to score for his brother. And even though he did not get the goal, he set that cross pass for Gadjevich to bank it into the back of the net. It was a tight situation, but previously, Bobrovsky, after initially giving an egregious giveaway to Justin Brazeau, his defense helped him out, and it was Evan Rodriguez, the Swiss Army knife, who kept that one out of the net. That's a nice setup feed right across. No chance for Korpisalo to stop that cross pass from Jesper Boqvist to Gadjevich.
Thank you, Alec. That's a perfect call by you. It's a stick save and a beauty to deny a goal against Bobrovsky, and then Gadjevich scores. Let me pull up my box score here momentarily and go to the scoring summary. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 different goal scorers of the Panthers' 5-1 lead right now with 10:25 left to go in the second. You almost feel like the Panthers could call off the Dogs, but also you can make another statement claim against Boston, who you handled in the first round. They're handling them in night one of the NHL season of 24-25, as this goes back to Johnny Beecher and Sergei Bobrovsky.
So we have a little scuffle. Not anything major out of this one, but it feels that the Bruins are getting frustrated by the Panthers yet again. This has been a beating of all sorts by Florida. 23-14 the shots thus far. And we're not even at the point of watching the Utah Hockey Club's first game right now.
Utah's got to be breathing a sigh of relief, huh, gentlemen, and say, hey, there's no way we could play as bad as this, right?
Well, they haven't even played a game yet in Utah right now. But you'd imagine it would be competitive between them and Chicago. I'd imagine it being tight the way I see things.
Because I know Arizona, again, we've talked about the move there from Utah, but Arizona, they've had their ups and downs, but they've also been a team that's been very feisty when they've been on the ice, and they've proven difficult to play against at times, correct?
Yep.
So we'll see what they can do against the Blackhawks. And for the Blackhawks, this is a different looking team. Again, you talk about bringing in Alec Martinez, Tyler Bertuzzi. You got another year of Connor Bedard. Hopefully he stays healthy. Taylor Hall, hopefully he stays healthy. Chicago has some pieces too. So I think that's going to be a pretty interesting nightcap alongside the Dodgers and the Padres. So we will keep you updated when that comes to pass. Probably about another 25 minutes or so. The first pitch will be thrown at Petco.
Yeah, I know Shohei Ohtani, he was hitless against Yu Darvish in Game 2. In fact, it's strange but true that Ohtani has struggled against Darvish in his career. 1 for 8 against him, including playoffs. Ohtani, however, against Michael King, who will be starting opposite Walker Buehler, 6 of 14. So this could be good news for Ohtani. The rest of the team, you believe that they will turn things around. Teoscar Hernandez, 6 of 20. Miguel Rojas only faced him in 2 at-bats, 1 of 2.
Yeah, and again, as we talked about, there's way too much damage potential in that lineup to have to worry just about one player, and that's what Magic Johnson and company, GM, side of it want to be hopeful for the Dodgers. But again, it's a star-studded lineup on the other side for the San Diego Padres. Make no mistake about it, with Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis.
I was just about to point out with Machado and Tatis. They are very talented in their own right, and they showed they are not afraid of the Dodgers. In fact, they've had their number this season.
Yeah, those are players that can absolutely strike fear. They got a really good closing side for Robert Suarez. That should be must-see television right now. This game's honestly been must-see, although the scoreline has been anything but. It's 5-1, but we've got a chance to be thrilled by what the Cats can do. We saw it all last year, and again, I really don't mind this being the first assignment of the year alongside Alec Malvez. We'll take you through this whole entire game. This one will be iced again. Right now, that's my count of 7 in the second period. We're just halfway through this contest, about 9:34 left.
We're now having icing trackers right now. It just kind of has me chuckling for a bit. Well, as for...
We got a good doubleheader tomorrow, Alec, as you mentioned, with New York and Pittsburgh, but then you got Colorado and Vegas. What do you see in that really quickly before I get into the play-by-play?
If the Rangers, they're banking on what could be their final opportunity at a good cup window. The Penguins, they want to make the playoffs probably one more time with this core three of Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and get a full year of Erik Karlsson on that hand. I figured this could be close as with every Penguins Rangers game in the Crosby era and the Shesterkin era also as well. Colorado and Vegas, Nathan MacKinnon is the main storyline. Alexander Barkov came close. I don't mean to step all over your shoes, but Nathan MacKinnon is no doubt the driving force of this Avalanche team, but also Kel McCarr and Mikko Rantanen, they're good players to have at your disposal. Vegas wants a full season out of each and every one of their players. But you do have to factor, strength and conditioning is one important key. You amount to the amount of injuries on Vegas' team, and you wonder and think about strength and conditioning.
Yeah, it's been a revolving door for them in the last few years. Again, Alec did a great job being able to give you all and give you some of the play-by-play there, because there was an end-to-end stop for Korpisalo. As Florida continues to get it done, these fans have had plenty of reason to be loud. This is near the left side dot and knocked away from the Bruins, and we'll look to be started again here. Get a full set line change near center, and across the player's bench. Here's a cross pass that'll just matriculate around the inboards. It will stay in. Ekblad was the last to it. Put this around for Anton Lundell. Little chip as this one gets put toward the right side, dotting off the back skate. This will be flipped as the Bruins try to matriculate and take this one right to left. It's been all the other way here from left to right for the Florida Panthers. They've not stopped. It doesn't matter what end of the ice that they've been. And the referee collides into one of the Panthers here. So I guess the Panthers return the favor after they knocked down Kachuk. Here's a wrister. Stop scores! My goodness, this game is just absolutely insane!
For as big of a scoring hole before this game is, this is peak entertainment. Must-watch television as the Bruins, they get the rebound. They cash in and make it a 3-goal game. Charlie McAvoy, their anchor at the defense, he chimes in and he says, hey, I want to get a taste of action here. Don't leave me out of this. First, it was the robbery. Alexander Barkov, he just missed to the right as he touches the right side of the cage. The Bruins on the other way. The initial stop by Bobrovsky, banked inside by McAvoy off the initial shot by Johnny Beecher. So Beecher will be credited with the primary assist, but McAvoy located that smartly for his first goal of this season. His 12 goals last year were a career high. How many will he score this time around? We'd figure that probably we'll have to monitor his goal count as the season goes along.
I wouldn't be surprised, Alec, if he finds his way near the 20 marker, correct? I mean, he's got the talent to do so.
Yeah, he has the talent. Perhaps for another career high in goals.
Evan Rodriguez able to elude the check there from Nikita Zadorov. And it's a 5-2 scoreline. I mean, this game has been bananas. If it wasn't for Bobrovsky a little bit early, as we get a monstrous hit near the right side boards, it was a late camera shot, so I couldn't pick up a number. Now the Bruins will get this toward the right side dot. Charlie Coyle will spin and turn. Bobrovsky in full sprawl in the hybrid. It'll be picked up now, stolen from Marchand by Rodriguez. Has to get away from a little bit of the snow. This will be flipped off a one-on-one. Last touch by the Bruins, but they'll lose it across the Cats logo. Panthers now. A warbling puck. We just got word that Adam Boquist is not going to return. He had about 4 minutes, 40 seconds of ice time. Good long flip. Here's Lindholm. Cross pass, stopped by Bobrovsky. He'll swallow it up.
The Bruins, they're not done yet. If they're going down swinging, they'll say. As this draws a crowd. But as for tomorrow, we'll have 3 games of our friends up north, including our good friend Owen Parkin, also known as Redbox, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens at Bell Center, the Winnipeg Jets and Edmonton Oilers at Rogers Place, and the Calgary Flames and Vancouver Canucks at Rogers Arena. Hey, don't feel left out, Senators. You'll get your turn Thursday.
Yes, they will. Again, we still got some other teams. Again, I'm very fortunate, and I don't know how you feel about the Rangers and the Penguins coming up there for tomorrow. I'm very fortunate now for the first time for the Red Wings to actually catch the Pens on a back-to-back. So they got to take advantage of it to open the season, because I'll talk about it a little bit in the second intermission as well. The opening schedule for the Red Wings is not too easy.
Yep, we could say the same thing as what it is last year. It's not too easy for the Red Wings to begin with on the opening schedule. We have you guys to begin with at LCA, at Little Caesars in Detroit. But after that opening matchup against the Penguins, you have the Preds, the Rangers. There's twice on the 14th and 17th. The Preds again, the Islanders, the Devils, the Sabres, the Oilers, the Jets, and then the Sabres up through November 2nd. So if I make that count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games, which could be tough matchups.
Yeah, 11 games, and you would think, 7 of them, because, again, the Red Wings and Penguins were borderline outside of the playoffs, but 7 of them against postseason opponents that just began October.
That just speaks volumes to it, John.
So, yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about. Again, I'll be talking about Vlad Tarasenko a little bit on Saturday. That'll be my first look at the Red Wings against Nashville. Honestly, I'm doing that assignment on Saturday, not just because I want to watch the Red Wings and my own team and Vlad Tarasenko, but I want to see Jonathan Marchessault and Steven Stamkos on the Preds.
That's going to be electric to watch. Stamkos and Marchessault at the Music City, the home of country music. A shout out to Luke Bryan and Luke Combs. In the meantime, 6:18 to play here in this second period. As I want to, it's nice having some music references around, especially for a city that's so prominent in music like Nashville. There are other cities that are prominent in music like Memphis, which is home of blues and rock.
It's fun to have the cast back together again in this NHL opening night. It kind of feels like we've never left. I know we've worked a lot of these games, but it's always enjoyable. As it's the Panthers and Bruins. It's a 5-2 scoreline now. Bruins do have the latest after a really good rebound opportunity where Bobrovsky tried to make the save a couple times. Again, it's not for the lack of trying here for the Bruins. At times, it's just the Panthers, when they started to get that pressure, it's been unrelenting. It kind of feels like they've been swallowed up by the Cats here and shoot up and spit out, as this is now high slot. Now for Mason Lohrei, has to center this in between his skates, spin and turn shot through the traffic. This will be harmlessly blocked, as Barkov will send this one down, and now Reinhart will get this to Jonas Korpisalo. He's taking a sweet old time in behind the cage now, as the Bruins will try to waft it and across center ice, and this will be chopped down. And across the left side wall, brace for a hit there, Nico Mikkola, able to hold his man near the left side red line, and the Panthers will escape the danger. There hasn't been a whole lot of it at times. This has been the Cats' game really from the word go. Now to the left side is the Bruins. Get this one across center ice. Here's an opportunity to now get swallowed off a double team hit for Kulikov trying to finish this one. There's a couple stick chops there. Nico Mikkola trying to pry it. 77-7 7 is the lucky number here right now. Now we to Listerine 27. It's all over the place. I'm just seeing double and triple. Picked up now for the Cats. Spin and turn. Kulikov lost it there for a moment. 4:25 left to go in the second at Emirates Bank Arena. This is opening night here for the Florida Panthers in their banner drop. Good effort. Samoskevich able to get this one down deep. That's what Florida wants to do now with a 3-goal lead. You want to make the safe play right now. You got a big cushion. The center of the net now. And Beliskis will try to pick this one up. Now, I promise I'll get that name right at some point. Now toward the right side dot here is the right wall for the Bruins. Lose it there for a moment as it bounced away from Beecher. Now Jones flipped this one as Frederick couldn't find it. Here's a long outstretched pass here for Evan Rodriguez. Good setup there. Bennett wired it high. He wanted a hat trick. He had a good opportunity to shoot. And he puts an expletive after, and you know why? Because he thought he had a hat there.
Oh, he had it there, John. Just had it chopped off a Bruin stick. But he has 2 goals. And a hat trick would be sweet for the ex-Flame. But nonetheless, he has good support around him. Reinhart, Losterinen, for that matter, and Gadjevich, of all people. How about a goal from Mackie Samoskevich?
It certainly seems like anybody and everybody's on the table right now, correct, here for Alec, because, I mean, you look at the scoring line that we already see, but there really isn't a Florida Panther that I can kind of designate or signify and say that they've had a bad game. I think everybody's played well.
Yeah, everybody has. And more often than not, the Panthers are doing everything right in this regard. The only 2 hiccups they had, it was on the 2 goals they let up against the Bruins. The shorty, and then you have that rebound chance. But that was very in tight that the Panthers tried to knock off McAvoy from trying to get that rebound. That was good defense with the Panthers nonetheless when McAvoy got that rebound. But McAvoy just fit that at the perfect place at the perfect time to get Boston back in this within 3 again.
Tough question from me, I know, but you're a smart man. It is 5-2, and Boston is down by 3 goals. Who would you say has been the best-looking Bruin in this game?
You know, this may be a tough call as, well, if you do look at it from this way, the best-looking Bruin thus far, I would want to give a shout-out to Charlie McAvoy. Because for all the talk about what the Bruins have been getting, McAvoy has been the leader of this defense for very good reason. That he is holding his own defensively, and he is stepping up for his teammates in times of need.
I could definitely say that, and you got it right with a goal and a +1. I was going to think between him and Pavel Zacha, and that's kind of crazy because those are the goal scorers. And that's really not the reason why we're picking those, to be honest with you. I think that they've just been able to get the puck out, kind of push it out in front and get away from the pressure at times. Wow, Max Jones actually slashed the referee.
That is absolutely unprofessional. I don't care which team you play for or who you are. If you slash a referee, that is absolutely unprofessional.
Now, we're gonna play devil's advocate here. He didn't intentionally hit the ref. What he was trying to do was not good. A Panthers player had their stick on his shoulder, and he was trying to get it off. The ref just happened to skate right as his stick was coming down. So it wasn't intentional at all.
I'm not gonna disagree with that, but I do think the speed in which the slash was given definitely that was not an afterthought.
It was not.
No, 1:25 left to go in the Florida power play. Are we going to see a power play goal here? We've just been seeing shorthand ones that we've had, one on both sides. 5-2 is still the scoreline here. It's Kachuk, number 19. Again, we'll see how many goals he'll score this year. This will block. Good work there for Hampus Lindholm and Charlie Coyle. This will be a soft flip down the ice. And Aaron Ekblad settle it back down. He'll turn and shoot it. Good reverse hit from Charlie Coyle as he cleans up Reinhart, pops back up to his feet. Now the Panthers have it off the drop near the left side dot and across the left wall. This will go back to Dean. Now in the middle of the slot. Here's a give and go. Toward the right side. Quick passing. Good stop for Korpisalo. I don't even think he saw it. near his right side pad as the Panthers pinch. This will be kept in, and now just offsides. 35 seconds in their power play, 2:19 in the middle frame.
Oh, that's very tough for Uvis Bolinskis. He just carried that one out by a slight inch and then brought it back up. That's just it's the worst possible feeling that you would have as a defenseman, where you can accidentally carry it offsides. But Charlie Coyle, he lined him up, he sized him up, and cleaned him out good. At Sam Reinhart, last year in his 27 power play goals, most of the time it's from the slot, with the exception of one goal from the top of the right circle. The common theme in here is that he plays on that bumper slot. Usually he is the setup man over the middle, high, or low slot.
Yeah, and it's easy to see why he scores all those goals, because not only is he very good at getting in those dirty areas, but you also have a Panthers team all the way across the board that has so many options, can't cover everybody. So Reinhart can be a beneficiary, but it's hard to be a beneficiary when you score 50-plus goals. You got to have some kind of talent. This one goes to the right side. Bennett, what a pass. Couldn't be held. Prayer for Barkov as he's being funneled by a couple of sticks. Boston will clear. Lindholm able to push this one ahead for Nikita Zadorov. Zadorov now. Here for Jones. Zadorov, big body. Jones tries to toe drag. It gets thefted. Now the Cats off to the races here with Lindell. And Marchand gets hit up high. And I think we're going to get some more hitting here because you got a piece of Marchand. I think one of the Florida Panthers go in the box.
Yeah, Marchand got high sticked. It was seen from the officials. They caught that. Slight contact, no blood. I doubt it was, but they're going to check for the moment. But it was cool. But I understand why the Bruins drew exception to that. They want to stand up for their captain. Nikita Zadorov took clear exception to that as Lundell makes a trip to the penalty box, and the officials will be handing out the official word to determine Lundell's fate. I don't think there was blood drawn in here. 2.
Absolutely right, Alec. One more time again, as it's Lundell. I mean, that stick is up high and toward the left side of the ear, so that's an easy call. And you know what? We can just say this in all honesty. You got a power play carry over time if you don't score, but a minute 20 left to go in the second. Boston makes this 5-3. This game has been so wild and open-ended. Who knows? This could be a huge goal if they can get it.
Just a reminder, no lead is safe. Even if you lead by as much as 4 goals, that lead isn't safe. You have to protect it and play to win instead of playing not to lose.
So this is a very big penalty kill here. We're looking at a little bit later into this game. 1:05 left to go in the second. Runner with you alongside Alec Novel. We'll be switching roles here in just a little bit, as this will be Mikkola. This will be picked off, though. And now Marchand. Get it to McAvoy. Here's a one-timer. Pasta missed the net. He was going for the top right bar. He just missed it all. He's still near the left side. This puck does not get to him this time. And this will be sent back down the boards. Good series of claps here from the fans that are into it right now. They know the measure of the moment. This is actually a pretty big kill. Zaka. He gets all turned around there. Pasta runs into Marchand to try to enter the right side blue line. And this will allow Florida essentially kill some more time. Lusterinen flip the one back down. He's stopped by Korpisalo as Boston will look to get going again here for Zaka. And this will be sent into an open area. In the left side boards, a blind back pass picked off by Pavel Zaka. That's Marchand near the right side bumper. He runs into Gustav Forsling. He was the plus-minus leader of all defensemen. This will be sent back down the ice, and then it's going to end the second. Florida's got a 5-2 lead.
Yeah, in the meantime, we have Mookie Betts getting a solo shot, and he homers off of Michael King. The Dodgers open a scoring up 1-0 to begin this game against the San Diego Padres. Freddie Freeman's up against King, who's batting .282 on the season. He's had a bad ankle, and we're monitoring that ankle as the postseason goes along. Well, here's Freeman. He pops it up, advancing for the right field is Tatis. He'll get the second out. Ohtani didn't record a run there, but nonetheless, good hockey here. As of late from the Bruins, that actually fanned off of Jurickson Profar's glove, off of the fingertips of it.
Since we got about 15 minutes before we go back into the third period here, I'll flip on FS1 and take a look here with you. Let's go across this scoreboard reset. So we did the first period reset. It was 4-1. Cats after 1. Still the same kind of lead by 3. Jonah Gadjevich gets his first from Jesper Boquist and Elvis Bolinskis at 9:12, and Charlie McAvoy gets his first from Beecher and Hampus Lindholm at 12:32. 5-2. It was 4-1, now 5-2. Still a 3-goal deficit for the Bees. Sergei Bobrovsky, I wouldn't say he's had a relatively easy night because the saves that he's made in bunches. He was able to actually stop the Bruins probably from getting a couple extra goals, but 15-17. And Jonas Korpisalo, it's been very busy behind his cage. I don't think some of those could have been stopped. 20 of 25.
Yeah, 20 of 25. It's been a so-so kind of night for Jonas Korpisalo for him. Sergei Bobrovsky, 15-17, but he is making the winning plays necessary to backstop the Panthers into a victory. It's not an eye-popping save percentage, but it's a respectable one, given that it's through 2 periods. And if he maintains this, he can get himself a well-earned night.
Yeah, I think so. And I know that you alluded to it a little bit. We're watching the baseball game in the interim before we go back into our feature. We won't miss any of that as Teoscar draws the walk against the former Yankee Michael King. It is top 1, 2 outs, Mookie Betts with a shot already, and the Dodgers still trying to finish things off here as they're just getting underway at Petco. I know I asked you a little bit with the Pens as far as maybe one more kick at the can for a playoff run. I thought that they've had some pieces that they need to get acclimated a little bit more, as you said, alongside Erik Karlsson. But I still think, honestly, Alec, this is a playoff team. They can get the job done. And I know it's going to be tough tomorrow against the New York Rangers, but I still think the Penguins are going to be a pretty good hockey team this year. I think this will be the year that they get into the postseason.
What has to be figured out is bottom 6 depth, because for as good as it is defensively, you'd wonder if it's sustainable to have the scoring outputs go our way. Lars Eller, Blake Wazat, and Noel Chari could form an alright fourth line on the way. Then you have Kevin Hayes, who has been very on and off with the Blues in his later tenure. In his 1 year with them. He was good with the Flyers. Good, with that being good, well, he spent there for the first 3 years of that current contract. I have to think it was 4, actually. But then last year with the Blues, it looked like he had a step back. Now with the Penguins, he wants to revitalize that to find his current form. Anthony Beauvillier may be an underrated pickup, but the guy that I'm most excited to watch in Pittsburgh, Rutger McGroarty. He's the top prospect we got from Winnipeg in that 1-for-1 trade with Braden Yeager. And I'm excited to watch him play after he dominated college hockey with the University of Michigan.
Watched him a lot in Maize and Blue, and he looked really good. And again, I don't know if it's whether or not he didn't want to be in Winnipeg, not much to do, but he gets a chance to jump right into a heavy offense and learn from the best in Sidney Crosby.
He made the team out of training camp, so he's going straight to the NHL.
I think he's going to be a very good prospect, and again, it's not me trying to be one-sided about U of M. I think it's going to be good. We talked about the Red Wings schedule and how difficult it may be. I'm going to raise you one. I'm going to actually say you might have the most difficult schedule right out of the gate, Alec, because how does this sound? Again, we talked about New York, so they open PPG on TNT tomorrow at 7:30, so that'll be a national game. It'll be good to see, against the Rangers. Then they go on the road for 3, Detroit, Toronto, Montreal, home against Buffalo, Carolina, and then they already go on the road for 4. They get the all-Canadian road trip, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of the first 10 on the road.
And honestly, when you count Montreal and Calgary into this, on paper, it shouldn't be that difficult to beat them. But remember, this is on the road. And Montreal is one of those teams the Penguins historically have had trouble against in the past. The Flames against the Flames, we had our moments where we looked rather iffy, including last year in that what I can describe as the Flames storybook ending in Mika Kiprusov night with his jersey retirement. Edmonton, no doubt, is a Stanley Cup contender. Vancouver, Stanley Cup contender. Winnipeg, playoff contender, maybe playoff bubble. They're still in that range. Carolina, playoff contender. Toronto, another playoff contender. Rangers, that's a Stanley Cup contender we're going up against to begin the season. And at home, I get we're at home, but going up against them and Igor Shesterkin is a very tough task to handle. I know the Rangers, they want to get over the mold and not have their offense run out at the worst possible time. And I know power play has been their main strength. They want to expand it over to 5-on-5 play.
Yes, they need to. Tommy Edman just made a sparkling catch against Luis Arraez. My goodness.
And Luis Arraez, he was the only one standing in the way of Shohei Ohtani getting the batting triple crown in the National League. It was Arraez's batting average that led the NL, and the only one I can imagine being ahead of Arraez in batting average is someone on the Royals, in which Ian knows by the name of Bobby Witt Jr., who has a legitimate case for AL MVP.
Oh yeah, well, he's not gonna get it because everyone is infatuated with Aaron Judge. But yeah, he should be.
Well, Bobby Witt Jr. also gets a chance to get the last laugh in, and you gotta like that because I think that could matter more if you get a chance to go to the ALCS.
Oh yeah, I mean, man, we are doing every. See, here's. Here's the thing about being a Royals fan. The lows are the lows, and they are low. But when you get the highs, and you get seasons like this, everyone thinks you don't deserve to be there. I mean, for anyone who, I'm sure, but it made the rounds. I don't know if you saw this, but Jazz Chisholm decided to state his opinion, claiming that the Royals got lucky in Game 2.
I don't think those are the right words you should be saying at this time.
Because you're going back to our house. You're facing our number 2 guy,
Yes.
who's an ace in almost every other club, in almost every other team in the league, Seth Lugo.
Yeah, it's like lighting kerosene on a stick of dynamite. I don't think that's very smart for Jazz. Again, if I'm Aaron Boone, I'd probably sit him down a little bit and have a talking to.
Stay humble.
Yes.
Humbleness always prevails. And the Royals, they're a small market team, from a humble city known as Kansas City. Their fans, they've been waiting for playoff baseball to return to Kauffman for the first time since winning the World Series 9 years ago. Salvador Perez remains that stalwart at the catcher, being the captain this time and guiding them on the way back to this point. Bobby Witt Jr., who likely will be the AL MVP runner-up. And not to mention, along with that pitching staff, a very underrated defense, anchored not only by Witt, but also Michael Massey, whose defense has been phenomenal. And MJ Melendez, who has had his moments, he's made some spectacular catches.
Yeah, they're a very good baseball team. I mean, again, we can always talk about the old saying that anyone that's made it to this point is good. But Kansas City, from the moves that they've made, I know Ian's talked about that a lot. Just some guys be able to bring in for pitching. Just some guys be able to bring in from hitting, some veterans. Yes, you got some years that you probably didn't expect for them to be performing above average, but those are the types of things that you need. And then when you get to this point, you bond together, you pitch well, you hit clutch, you get Vinny Pasquantino back. I think that there is a lot to work with for the Royals, and I think they can absolutely be dangerous. And they could make their way, if they get past the Yankees here, to the World Series.
It's realistic. And I have the Royals as my... Before the postseason began, I had the Royals coming out the AL, even though I had them as a dark horse pick. I see them as a very good dark horse pick out the AL. I know, in my opinion, the toughest test for the Royals, I don't believe it's the Yankees. I believe it's the Guardians, and I'll stand on that.
I agree with you, Alec. I think that's the one that's kind of getting in the way because their pitching is a problem as well. Those could be some really entertaining games if you like defense and low scoring, if you do get the Royals and the Guardians. I just want to say this for my own prosperity here, because not a lot of times I get to shout out my own team, because the Tigers aren't supposed to be here either. Look, Tarek Skubal, that was a 7-inning masterclass, and the Kerry Carpenter thing, I know I sent the tweet out. I felt bad. I almost blew my voice out. I knew I had to work with Alec the next day, but I couldn't help it when Kerry Carpenter hit that one with 2 outs in the ninth. I don't know if the Tigers are going to be able to get past the Guardians. I just think that the Guardians got schooled the other night, and we'll see if that continues. But, Ian, I will say this, and I just got to say this forthright, it'll be no hard feelings. If the Tigers and the Royals meet in the ALCS, I don't care if my team loses, but you better win the World Series.
Oh, trust me, hey, right back at you, man. That's the goal. Because right now, so the Tigers are, I mean, let me put it to you this way, John. A few months ago, I believe back around June, I saw Tigers fans just in pure lamentation, convinced that the season was over, and somehow we're both here.
Yes.
And you know what? You got the Guardians, but I feel like, for some reason, I feel like I feel like you would have wanted a shot to take down the Yankees. I know we did. I mean the Royals. Royals fans. As soon as we got done with Baltimore, Yankees fans were hitting the timeline, saying that this was going to be the easiest path to the World Series.
Really?
I'll tell you one thing, Ian. I'll let Alec jump in here in a second, but I agree with you. I think it's always easy to take shots at the Yankees because they like to go ahead and say the things. And I was happy enough to actually get to knock off the Houston Astros, so that one felt very good.
Yeah, it felt so good to knock off a team that's been so consistently good throughout these years with 7 straight ALCS appearances, and now the streak is over at the hands of their former manager, AJ Hinch, and the Detroit Tigers. Yeah, game 1 felt like they got schooled. And the Astros, they showed up in the 9th inning, taking advantage of Jason Foley. Then Bo Brisky came in and did the job. And at first base, with Spencer Torkelson finishing off the Astros with a nice catch off of Jason Hayward's liner on for right field. And then game 2, on came the late hits off both Ryan Presley and Josh Hader, who are 2 of the better relievers in the MLB. Though that is on paper. Presley is 35 right now, and for someone who once was the closer of the Astros, logically, by bringing in Hader, you would think that you're going younger. Technically, you are. Hader's 30, Presley's 35. And for Hader to be named the closer, you think that you'll be getting elite level play. Well, the Tigers have something of this clutch trait and grit that they have in them. They're here, and they're not going anywhere. As for the Royals, I talked with Ian the other day that this series between the Royals and Yankees has upset potential. I get for the fact that the Yankees have the bats. My questions about the Yankees are about their pitching staff. Yeah, I get Garrett Cole did the job by extent in game 1, but what about everyone else? Carlos Rodon? Whatever happened with Marcus Stroman as well? Plus, defense also wins you championships. The Royals have that. The Yankees, I get they have the bats. They can out-hit their problems. The bullpen is another one of my questions. And for the Royals, while the bullpen has been a problem in the regular season, as of late, it's been a strength. And I feel they have the advantage in this department.
I completely agree with you, Alec, and I'm not just saying this either because Ian's on the cast with us, and I'm glad that he is for this opening night. I'm going Royals all the way. I feel like they're beating the Yankees. They're going to be in the ALCS. We'll see what happens. I think that they will get to the World Series, and then we'll see who they play. I feel like, and I don't want to say this to upset either one of you gentlemen, I'm worried when it gets to the World Series on the NL side, whether it would be the Dodgers, whether it would be the Padres, Mets, the Phillies, bats, everything else that they have. I feel at least like my team, if they got that far, doesn't have enough tools. I think the Royals have a little bit more, but the World Series might be where it ends. I hope not, but that's kind of what I'm thinking on the forefront.
You know, I'm looking at it from a very realistic perspective, John.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm with you. I'm kind of, see, here's the thing. The Royals have just been, quietly, they are one of the most resilient teams.
Yes.
That are still left in the field, but I have to agree. Like even with all the talent, the pitching being an absolute godsend for us. The thing is, look. The fact of the matter is, this last game against the Yankees, okay, Cole Reagans did not have a deep start, which meant the bullpen had to carry for most of the game. Now, thankfully, they had an off day today, so they were able to rest their arms, and only I think maybe one or two pitchers went multiple innings, no more than two. But the fact is, they are giving everything in this series to beat the Yanks. And I feel like now whoever makes it, if they make it to the ALCS and whoever wins between the Tigers and the Guardians, I still feel the Royals can beat one of those teams because they know them, and vice versa. That team, whatever team makes it, would know the Royals in that case. So I think they could beat them. But yeah, if any of those three teams from the AL Central makes it, I don't know who would have the horses, to beat. I mean, realistically, the team that is the most realistic to beat from the NL is the Mets.
Yeah, not right now. That's the thing that we'll be wondering about. So, Alec, do you want me to start this and you close off the back half?
Let's go with the same way we started with, John. How about that, to be fair?
Okay. Let's go.
All right, so we still have carryover power play time for the second period for the Boston Bruins. Alec Nava, JohRyanOtt, Ian Genji here. Oh, a mishandled pass. Charlie McAvoy could have had that one as Korpisalo Hill played out. Well, leading after two, the Florida Panthers in their last 73 games are 69-0-4. Though it's impressive how long this streak has been, dating back to the turn of the 2023 calendar year. Lostarina in front, and he got robbed there by Jonas Korpisalo. Lostarina was all in front, all alone.
I didn't surprise myself when I looked at it for Lostarina. I could have sworn he had his hands up in the air. He thought he scored.
I don't blame him nonetheless. He thought he had that one right there. Well, here's the 5-0 and a nice pass by Mackie Samoskevich right over the stick of Nikita Zadorov. More of this, please.
Yeah, that's some good work there across all four lines here for Florida. I'm pretty impressed. I know I shouldn't be because it's just game one, but they've been business as usual. They've looked good. You take it away.
And they have continued on their business approach here. Much like the Golden Knights in 2023, they had taken that same approach in 24. This puck was played with a high stick, so we'll cancel out play for the moment.
So again, for anyone just joining us on the YouTube side or wherever you're listening today, thank you for that. It's 5-2. Again, I will be back tomorrow for the Canucks and the Flames. And again, I have Saturday listed for the Red Wings. But we'll see, because depending on what happens in the division series as we get on their offsides, so I get an extended talking for a second. Depending on what happens in the division series, if there's a clincher, I might have a change of plans. But it should be hockey this week. We're all looking forward to it. Alec and I are getting back in the saddle. Alec and I usually try to get a game a week in there together where we figure out some assignments. So look forward to this 24-25 season. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, it will be theater. Oh, this. And meanwhile, the throw got away for the Dodgers. The Padres are safe on a failed double play by Freddie Freeman.
Oof. Man, oh man. So first and third and nobody out here and bottom deuce.
It's just we have another stoppage here. 1:21 into the third period. So everybody's safe. Runners at the corners. Bottom of the second. And nobody is out. The Padres, they can afford a sack fly now if it's deep enough.
Do you think Sam Bennett gets the hat here, Mr. Nava?
Well, I would think yes and probably not at the same time. So I think it's an equal chance that he does and that he does not at this point. Either way, it would not be surprising, as the Bruins, they're in control, trying to overcome a 4-goal deficit. But against the Panthers, it's going to be a very tough task. Likely in overtime, the pass in front is blocked off. Bruins pick it up at their own end. They're back to those older jerseys that they have worn from 2018 and onwards. These jerseys, they were not used last season because it just so happened to be with their 100th anniversary. It's their centennial year. So they wore specialized jerseys to commemorate their 100th anniversary as an NHL team. So in the meantime, there is a double play. No! Safe is everyone. And the Padres have tied it up 1 apiece, by the way. Bruins in their own zone trying to get this one out. Brandon Carlo moves it across the red line and then into the Panther zone. This one mishandled. Florida gets it back. Losterinen over the right side off the far wall. Carlo away from all sorts of Panthers, gave it away to Losterinen. Losterinen moving in. Closed off. Bruins pick it up. Out into the neutral zone. Kepke goes back and he'll retreat to the defensive pair. Up front through center, this takes a bounce off Kastelik. There was someone right behind him, that was Jesper Boquist, that was right behind him on the trailer. Dmitry Kulikov from the far corner picks it up. Bouncing puck, Panthers give it away again. Carlo, steady defensive, stay-at-home defensive presence for Boston. He is one of those top defenders with them. He does have his moments, but being paired next to Mason Lohrei can have his benefits. Andrew Peeke, another stay-at-home defenseman for the Bruins, picked up from Columbus as one of those presences. Here's Trent Frederick, near corner, away from Bennett, who poked it away. Max Jones there, sails out to the far half wall, and cleared out. Florida has it this time. Greer, moving it up, opposite Peeke. Carried along for the near corner. Bouncing puck for the near half boards. Brazo goes along for a ride. Florida keeps it through. The pass is blocked off by the Bruins. Out the center, Panthers have it again. For the near boards, bouncing puck for Bennett. Gets denied on this entry. Boston clears again. Shots 26-17 for the Florida Panthers here. They have not lost a game in which they have led after 2 periods. As the pass goes in front and Korpisalo had to make another good save there to shut down the Panthers. Already 22 saves for him in his Bruins debut, as Jim Montgomery is not riding with Jeremy Swayman for this game. This may have went wide though, as they're ruling, as Tkachuk sends it down low, out in front, now behind the net. Alexander Barkov right there. Through the far corner, Bruins carry it out. And the Panthers are back with this. Forsling will get this one up. Over the left side. And that was so close, but this is to the right of the foul pole for the Padres with David Peralta, who is in his third NL West team, having spent a long time with the Diamondbacks and 1 year with the Dodgers. We have an icing here, by the way, against the Bruins.
That was a good back pass there for Tkachuk, picking it up off the backhand. Evan Rodriguez trying to make something, score 5-hole against Jonas Korpisalo. Pretty good save there, but an even better play for Rodriguez just to get something on it.
Peralta scores 2, by the way, on an RBI double. It's a bases clearing RBI double of the runners at first and second base, by the way. San Diego taking the lead 3-1 for whom the bell tolls.
Man, oh man, that could be a huge development here. The Padres are a very good baseball team. Dodgers end up losing this one. They could be in trouble.
Yeah, because the next pitcher in the rotation could be Landon Knack. And who they go to in the rotation, could they bring back Yamamoto on short day's rest? That could be our belief here for tomorrow. Bruins have it. Elias Lindholm sends this directly onto Bobrovsky, who plays it around, hurried up though. And on for the far side, Adam Boquist dealing with an undisclosed injury. He is not returning for the rest of this game. He was the top power play quarterback and part of that third pair. So the Panthers are playing with 5 defensemen. Those being Forsling, Ekblad, Nikola Kulikov, and Uvis Bolinskis. For the far side, Jake Cronenworth trying to get his first postseason hit. He's 0 for 13. But he can spark some nice boosts under manager Mike Schilt. Panthers for the right point. Deep blast. This is out in front. Bruins pick it up and they skate this one down. For the left side, Cole Koepke carrying this one through is poked away. Panthers trying to get this one back. Bruins have it. Backhand pass. Not on target as this was off. Intended for Peak. And Bolinski's will go for a change. Kulikov as well. So they're double shifting one of the top 4 defensemen alongside Bolinski's. And Peralta steals third base, by the way. Or no, it's a base hit that moves Peralta to third. So the Dodgers may be in a bit of trouble here. Walker Buehler, you don't know what it's about, but he has to live up to his potential. So far, that's not happening. Bouncing puck, cleared out, in the neutral zone. And Evan Rodriguez carries this in. Rodriguez fires, scores! Evan Rodriguez!
And Jonas Corposalo gets absolutely laid out after it, and that's going to cause a ruckus.
Well, it is going to cause a ruckus here. The Bruins are taking exception to it, and now we have rats being thrown onto the ice, helmets being taken off. Trent Frederick and Rodriguez want to go at each other. Just what in the world is this unfolding to?
Boy, oh boy, night one between the Cats and the Bees. Gentlemen, I'm so happy to be here with you. We've saw everything in this game.
Jeez, and I thought the Rangers and Capitals had bad blood.
This is getting good. No, you're right. I mean, you talked about a budding rivalry and all of that. This really is what we're seeing right now. Evan Rodriguez is hoping this goal will stand. Corposalo looks like I'm not going to say partly concussed. He's still getting shaken up, and we got those plastic rats as well. And I guess for Jeremy Swayman, as we talked about all night, probably happy he doesn't need to be in the pipes for this one.
Oh, he has to be bringing a sigh of relief because Corposalo got shellacked in this game.
Yes.
We have to wait if this goal is going to stand because that looked to be a hit before the goal was scored by Rodriguez. So we're waiting on official word and the referees here. So Swayman's ready to go in the case Corposalo can't continue for the rest of this night. So Corposalo skating around, taking some strides, but we're still waiting.
That puck was in before the collision. I think that one's going to count. That was an absolute snipe. And Sam Bennett, little how do you do, dive right into Jonas Corposalo.
Oh, extracurriculars afterwards, and I am not surprised that the Bruins took exception to that. The puck came across the net. The puck came into the net before Bennett made the hit on Corposalo. I wonder what would be the action here by the officials in such a case right afterwards, because we got an ugly scuffle.
Yes, we did. And I want to see another camera shot. I'm not saying Bennett didn't do something, but Carlo, I don't know if Carlo got a piece of Bennett that forced him into that. We will get at least a 2-minute for one, but the refs are giving him out now.
2 for roughing on each side, as this is a deep shot in right center. It will be fielded by Tommy Edman. There'll be a sac fly coming in. It'll be 4-1 Padres.
It's not an easy segue here for the Dodgers because, you know, they only really want one thing. But maybe the Dodgers, we kind of feel the same way about them as we feel about the Astros, correct? I don't think anybody feels sorry about the Dodgers except the Dodgers fans.
You know, I actually feel sorry for Ohtani, if we're being honest, because he came to LA to win a World Series. But the Padres, they have every match that they have for the Dodgers. To say that the Dodgers are the favorites feels like it feels like it's an overstatement of what it actually is, because this is an evenly balanced matchup. The Padres, they have the tools to beat the Dodgers, and the fact that the Padres are up 4-1 in this game is not that surprising.
It's very well said, Alec. That's a good call on your part. 6-2 looks like the goal is going to stand. The fans have been able to party ever since this puck drop here, and it continues. And from Jim Montgomery, it is just night one, so you absolutely flush it. We know that they have a good hockey team, but I think I can say this here today: they are not on the Cats' level.
No, absolutely not. They are not on the Panthers' level right now. There's a lot of work that needs to be done for the Bruins to catch up to the Panthers. It's just one game. You have to see how you perform in the next few games, because you're still one of the best teams in the NHL. And the Bruins should still be regarded as that caliber. They're still there over the elite tier. They have a power play to go with, as Pastrnak will go across for Elias Lindholm. Where will he go? Where will the Bruins go from here? This game may seem over by the scoreline, but it's been an entertaining first game for both the Panthers and the Bruins, for both sides of the same coin. That the Panthers, it's entertaining for all the right reasons. The Bruins, entertaining for both the right and the wrong reasons. Pastrnak, Marchand, he did a nice spinorama. Marchand going over to Pavel Zacha. Zacha will lift it over for the left side. Now our turn field is a little too far. Marchand setting up Lindholm. Now back for Marchand, the captain. Down low, this goes over to the swap for Zacha. Now Marchand. Zacha can't get anything as Aaron Ekblad was there. It makes life easier for Big Bob and make it a stop.
Yep, good work there in that passive box. They keep them the space on the outside, but nothing doing there as Bobrovsky able to just cover up and kill some time.
Oh, by the way, gentlemen, I just want to point out that Fernando Tatis just hit his 4th home run of the postseason.
Isn't that guy hitting above like 650?
Let me check.
This guy's on fire nonetheless.
So Fernando Tatis currently has a batting average of 625 with a 2.200 OPS.
That's completely unheard of. A 625 batting average thus far, and now you had a free run shot, a 2-out home run to make it 6-1 on through left field. And the fans who have been here throughout everywhere here in San Diego, you may be starting to wonder, have we seen the last of Walker Buehler? Because at this point you have to make a crucial decision. That Buehler may not be getting up to the potential which he has. And we may also have seen the last of Clayton Kershaw as a Dodger. Word of advice for the Dodgers: you need to have Tyler Glasnow and Gavin Stone healthy through next year and available in time for the playoffs. Because having them out before the playoffs was just a bad hit for a pitching staff that can't afford taking any more bad hits. Along with Tony Gonsolin, River Ryan, Emmett Sheehan. Oh, here's a attempted backhand stuff. It's still outside the net. Bobrovsky held his own. Ho, ho, ho. How about that? Passed across Kepke. Oh, he airmailed that one. It was up high. And Profar was safe at first. Over the right side is Andrew Peake. Peake of a hold of it. Sam Bennett. On for the near boards with Peake making the pass over to Kepke. Kepke, a former Bolt, as he airs this one over to the near corner. Ekblad stick this one aside. Gustav Forsling picked it up from his own zone. Up for the middle. Splitting the defense. It is Carter Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe! Oh, that would have been the extra point right there to go with the touchdown. Bouncing puck. Samoskevich! He almost had his first career goal there. What made you proud, John? Here come the Bruins the other way. David Pastrnak canceled out. And the Panthers pick this one back up. They're in their own zone, but they're in a tight battle with the Bruins. Bouncing puck some more. And this is in and out the zone. Riding this one over to Bruins territory. Right back in for Elias Lindholm, will get shut down and the whistle blows. Might as well hand this off to John the rest of the way.
All right, Alec, if you're sure. If not, you can take it to the rest of this power play because I know you lost a couple minutes. But this game has been absolutely amazing, and we will take you home. I know the scoreline says anything different, but we're telling you 6-2. You've had everything that you've wanted here. And honestly, I shouldn't be surprised, but there was no easing into this one, was there?
No, there's not. There's no easy feat onto this. Didn't seem easy when they scored 4 goals in the first period. What looked to be a cruise to victory didn't look as such. There were fists thrown, rights being jabbed at, heavy hits. This game brought it all.
Yeah, you used every bit of energy that you could in this first game here for these two squads. Again, we got Chicago and Utah. That one's probably going to be a little bit closer. As Alex said, I will completely agree with him on that. But as far as entertainment value, I doubt you're topping this one here today. And Seattle did get the victory. Jordan Kyrou with a pair of goals as the Blues take a 3-2 victory over the Seattle Kraken. Dan Bylsma moved up from the Coachella Valley Firebirds. They lose their first one. Honestly, I could say this during the intermission. I'm not sure what the expectations are for the Seattle Kraken because you had that playoff berth just the other season ago. But you know what? They're still in the midst of a rebuild. You still feel like they're going to be pretty good. They got some young pieces. I don't know if the playoffs are in the cards, especially if you got Philip Grubauer and Joey Daccord and you don't have as much goal scoring as you need.
Yeah, Seattle is a bit of a wild card to me. They did add Chandler Stevenson and Brandon Montour in the offseason. See what you can get out of them. You insert Stevenson up at that second line. But if you want to take a complete gauge on the Kraken, you want to give Shane Wright more chances. Ideally, you would have him as a third line center. Though that would mean that you would demote one of the players on that third line. Well, Yanni Gourde is usually a third liner, and he would not seem ideal for a fourth line spot. I don't know if there's any room for Wright to fit into the top 9 at this current moment, but there has to be at some point. Montour, we'll see if he is the real deal in Seattle or if he's a product of the Panthers system, because he did put up excellent results next to Nico Mikkola and an aging Mark Stahl. We'll have to see if that success can be carried over to Seattle.
I think that's a good call on your part because, again, for Chandler Stevenson and Brandon Montour, those were not small deals. Those were long terms and heavy payment money as they want to try to get toward respectability. But you got Ty Cartier, Riker Evans, and Shane Wright mixed in there. They need to be able to find some experience and score some goals. And then I saw as we're getting into this power play that the Devils are plus 1,200 to win the Stanley Cup. Maybe that's because they're expecting a goal-scoring bounce back and an improvement in goal from Jacob Markstrom.
Yeah, that's what they believe that is going to be the case for Jacob Markstrom to settle into this goaltending situation in New Jersey. It was disastrous last year. And do remember, the Devils tried to trade for Markstrom twice. The first time it fell apart, but the second time, talks resurfaced and they were able to agree on a deal. You may have lost Kevin Ball in the midst, but you're banking on a goaltending bounce back, which I think is going to be the case for the Devils. He still has 2 years left on his contract, but I think he can deliver.
I think so too. I think it was a smart move to be able to make. Again, Evan Rodriguez, the only goal of this third. It's been all Florida. It's been a lot of fun. There's been fisticuffs on both sides, short-handed goals on both sides, endless action. Corpusalo probably didn't expect to work today, but he's been worked for 6 goals. As this one goes all the way back down to Bobrovsky. No power play goals yet here for the Cats, but I think this is their 5th opportunity, unless I've lost track. Sam Bennett's still waiting for the hat trick. He's got a couple. Kachuk's got an assist and 3 shots, about 15 minutes of ice time. This team is loaded, so they haven't really had to use Kachuk as much as they needed to, especially with the scoreline, so that will bode well at least. As this is picked up toward the right side, Bennett try to get this one to Forsling, but it gets sticked away by the Bees. Going to go all the way back here. Now settle one more time. Forsling, extra pass as I pull up my Panthers lineup again. Lindell lost it there for a moment. Walensky has it now. Get this one across for Forsling. He'll let the wrister go. Corpusalo bounced, but he'll find it on his second effort.
The Gustav Forsling saw see-through lane from the left point. There wasn't a deflection from Anton Lundell, but Nonetheless, it's a good see-through shot. Aaron Ekblad had that backpedaling bouncer pass over to Matthew Tkachuk, looking to bank this one to the inside. There are so many chances that the Panthers had at the front of the net. Get to the front of the net. And those were the first two goals in which they capitalized off of. That time it was Tkachuk on a shot attempt off the pass from Ekblad. And the second time around was Forswing looking for deflection from Lundell.
You're absolutely right. I mean, that's the way it's worked all game. That's their moniker over the last couple of seasons. That's why they've been to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. They were so beat up that year before against Vegas. That's probably why this series ended as quickly as it did. If you didn't have broken foot, broken sternum, multiple players, Rekko Gudas, Tkachuk, all of that, it could have been a different story. But the Florida Panthers were able to get it in 7 against Edmonton. We'll see what they can do this year. Here's a one-timer off the outside of the cage. And on a play.
Oh, did that bounce off the post? I believe it did. It went out of play for Boston, but that was a good look at the left circle for Morgan Geekie. Oh, the Dodgers, they may be striking back. And bases loaded. Nobody out here at the top of the third.
So make sure, gentlemen, you give us the updates. I'll try to go through the play-by-play. You have the luxury of 2 screens. I don't. So make sure you let me know.
Oh, and let's also note the batter that's up. It's Freddie Freeman with the bases loaded and nobody out.
If there's somebody I trust to put the ball in play, it's Freddie, correct?
Freddie has a knack for how do we put it? Causing chaos.
Yes.
Like he did in Atlanta.
Yes. He's going to be an instant Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. I think Freddie Freeman probably comes through here, at least in some sort.
I would believe he does here. With the bases loaded, and Miguel Rojas, he's banged up. So someone's going to sub in for him. That will be Andy Pages. So Pages, in that regard, he'll sub in for Rojas, which will move Tommy Edman to shortstop. And have Pages play at center field because left field and right field are occupied by Teoscar Hernandez and Mookie Betts. So you have a backup plan for when Rojas goes down. You move Edman to shortstop. He can play both infield and outfield. And then you have Pages playing at the outfield as well. So Pages is a career outfielder. But the Dodgers are going with youth over experience, including Pages over Kevin Kiermaier.
I know. I think I'm looking at the NL West. We talked about it before as the Diamondbacks couldn't get in on the last day of the season in between the Braves and Mets doubleheader. But that NL West, I mean, you look why the Padres have the lineup they do and why the Dodgers have the lineup they do. You have to load up. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to survive.
Yeah, and that time, Freddie Freeman, despite being on the plate, he looked to have something, but nope, Jurickson Profar was right there to stop any progress and a good throw to home to prevent any run home from Pages. But Teoscar Hernandez is coming up.
So we'll keep you updated on that. Feel free to interrupt me because I know this game is where it is right now. Puck drop about Chicago and Utah probably about 10:30 time. So it'll be interesting to watch in the nightcap during the baseball game and the hockey game. We'll be flipping through. As this is picked up now for Pasta. See if he can get one. He gets dispossessed. It took 3 players to take him off the puck. Verhaeghe now tries to race against Hampus Lindholm. Make sure he doesn't blow an edge and fall into the boards. As this goes back in behind the end boards now for Boston. Again, Florida's energy level has been 10 out of 10 all game. Here's a one-timer. Right out in front. Barkov fans on it. Gets partially blocked. And it'll fall to Korpisalo.
So Florida is keeping their energy up. When it looked like we're questioning if they'll have enough energy to repeat for the Stanley Cup. So far, that energy level has not decreased one bit. But over time, you'd wonder, how much will their depth be tested? There are the questions about if they're going to extend all of Bennett, Verhaeghe, and Ekblad at the same time. It's going to be tough. But I feel the Panthers, they'll find out, like every Stanley Cup champion before them, it's hard to keep everyone around. That was the case when they lost Montour and OEL in the offseason. And with Vladimir Tarasenko going elsewhere to Detroit. But they're still battle-tested, and I feel they're still a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, you're right. And it's like good teams replacing all that stuff in a cap era and fitting the pieces, plug and play. That's what you want. Again, I guess we'll get our answer, Alec, probably more toward January and February when we get in the dog days of the season. And health is always something that we talk about. Shots on goal don't look as lopsided now, 33-22 for the Cats, but trust me, it was very good. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, quick update. Teoscar Hernandez has gone full Chaos Agent. Grand Slam. Five Padres.
Woo. Grand Salami from Italia. 6-5.
Well, I know what I'll be watching once this is all done. Again, I know I'm not closing out yet because we're waiting until it's all done, but thank you, gentlemen, for joining me for this one. It's been a lot of fun to be able to go across the landscape. Just happy to have playoff baseball and hockey on the television. I can't believe it's already time for that again.
Oh, I wonder what the mood is like in Toronto and Seattle, knowing that Teoscar has played for both the Blue Jays and the Mariners previously.
And especially Seattle, you're thinking, man, I wish we had the version of this guy. We could be in the postseason.
You'd wonder.
Kulikov gets knocked off the puck. Here's a one-timer. There was all sorts of traffic in front of Big Bob, but they were able to make the save. Stick chop. Boston can't touch it. They would have been offside. Here's Bennett. I'm just trying to see if he gets a half. Backhand. Bounces off Corpusalo. Rebound. That one goes wide. The heavy hitting has not stopped. We still got 5:50 left to go in the third as this one goes back down the ice. Gustav Forsling. Nice work to be able to cut the bees off the puck as we will get another whistle at 5:54.
It's just the sixth time in franchise history for the Dodgers at one of their batters has recorded a grand slam. And last year, we saw that twice with the Texas Rangers in their World Series run, the second and third grand slams in their franchise's history. And I got to cover one of them. Mitch Garver had the second one. He's now with Seattle. But the Dodgers getting their sixth grand slam in postseason history. It feels like you're in good company of all this postseason appearances that you're in. Max Muncy on the plate.
Let me ask you this. I know you'll be getting the updates and all that. I just saw the Utah players start to walk out of the dressing room, get ready for warm-ups. That color scheme looks pretty solid, doesn't it? I know it's basic, but it looks clean.
Yeah, those jerseys may look solid as well. But also, you have to account for their practice facility. I believe they haven't even played a game yet. And I'm going for a hot take. They have the best practice facility right now. You know that they have the traditional rink. But not only that, they have a speed skating rink outside of the main rink. That was part of the decoration when Salt Lake City hosted the Winter Olympics. And they're set to host the Winter Olympics 10 years from now.
That's pretty cool, Alec. I did not know that. Are they sharing the same arena with the Utah Jazz?
They are.
Okay. Just trying to get my bearings straight before they get their name and all that. I believe that we've ended the top of the third, but damage has been done. Teoscar, grand slam, makes it 6-5. The Dodgers look like they were dead to rights until they made some magic happen. And we got a whole lot of the game left to go.
And it wasn't Freddie Freeman causing the chaos as we were anticipating per Ian's comments. It was Teoscar Hernandez causing the chaos. He's been a menace this year. He's playing the season of his life. And Walker Buehler is livid.
I would have to imagine so. He's on the hook for 6 earned runs. Michael King, 5 earned runs. If you're Mike Schilt, if you're Dave Roberts, when do you go to the bullpen? And how much length do you give them? Because you're going to have another game to play tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, this may turn into another one of those bullpen games for the Dodgers. It was a bullpen game in Game 1, as I covered, in which they used their relievers from the 4th inning onwards. They pulled Yoshinobu Yamamoto after 3 innings, which was curious in my opinion, because he's the type of pitcher that starts off slow, but then heats up as the game goes along. It worked to an extent.
So Florida gets another power play. They've had a bushel full of them right now. They've still not scored on it, but they've got a lot of practice. Ekblad, touch pass. And Florida, I think, is going to get to this before it gets out of the blue line. Here's Verhaeghe near the left side dot. Try to work this across the bumper now. Ekblad, good touch. As this goes to Barkov, Ekblad will settle it down between his stick blade. It's Carter Verhaeghe. Out of the left side dot is Reinhart. Off of the defense, stays on sides of Ekblad. Now to the right side. Florida just being very patient with the puck right now. They're killing time, essentially. Here's a wrister. This is a double deflection. Goes to the right side red line. Cats with it now. Here's a shooting lane for Verhaeghe, but that one gets blocked and up and out of play.
Well, Florida doesn't need to score again. They've already done the damage here. But another goal could add more insult to injury here against the Bruins. For Carter Verhaeghe, he had that one close, and as we see again, Ray Ferraro is driving his way to Delta Center. He did the first of 2 games at Climate Pledge Arena, but he has landed at Salt Lake City. Double duty in action for Razor.
I want a documentary of his travels in night 1. I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, through the Pacific Northwest. That would sound so cool.
That would be, as Lindell tries to go ahead and get this puck drop. We'll see the Panthers. Let me just double check my box here and go on the team stats. So power play opportunities, this is number 7 here for the Panthers. Not often would you go 0 for 7 and score 6 goals. See what they get now. This is blocked out in front. Lindell turnaround chance gets denied by Korpisalo as it's down to 30. Forsling, they can't hold it in. Walensky's now will settle back down for Gustav. So I think it's a pretty good pairing there for Paul Maurice. Be able to put him with the best plus-minus man, just kind of leverage him in to get some NHL time as well. This is near the right side. Good passing here. Forsling was open up the back door, but it doesn't find him. And they're going to go 0 for 7 to the Cats in the power play unless they get something right off the blue line chance. Now to the right side. Here's a wrister. This is blocked again. Bruins might get something right out of the box. Here's an opportunity for Nikita Zadorov. He's been in the penalty box, it seems like 3 times in this game. He's been living there, having plenty of rest. An opportunity now for Boquist. Boquist now with Gadjevich. Boquist goes off sides. 3:29 left.
Well, Jesper Boquist may be thinking another goal in mind, but to see a team go 0 for 7 on the man advantage and both teams a combined 0 for 10 would be unreal. Oh, did Teoscar Hernandez just catch that in the foul tracks? He did!
He's doing it all.
He did. I thought it was going to be a foul ball at first, but Teoscar had us all fooled out. He caught it with Max Muncy traveling with him.
Again, I'm looking as they're showing on the ESPN side of Boston's upcoming schedule. Well, next Monday, they get to do this again against the Florida Panthers. So maybe in one way that gives you an opportunity to get right back and try to figure out what to do for next time. But maybe you might wish you don't play them for another few more weeks.
Yeah, also I'd wonder, with the situation around the hurricane, if it strikes the Tampa area, well, as the Boston Bruins score, as they get an insurance marker, I do want to wonder, what will be the situation for the Lightning and their home games, and for all their major sports teams like the Buccaneers, the Rays, and by extent the Orlando Magic. Where would they end up playing if they can't play at their home venues?
Yeah, it'll be a question to wonder. The NHL and Gary Bettman have to figure that out. I think Brazo set up Jones in behind the cage near the left side, and he's going to get a goal here. It's 6-3. Again, that's managing. It's going to look a lot better for Boston than it actually was. I think Trent Frederick got it there from Jones and Brazo. To correct myself, as it's 6-3 with 2:55 left to go in the third. Another whistle. Listerine got knocked down. There is going to be some ice packs. I know it's just night 1, but these guys have got to feel like they're going to need some ice tubs because there's been banged up bodies, there's been fights, penalties. We're getting another one here.
Oh, no love lost?
So Walensky's is going to get some time in the box. And again, as Alec mentioned, if this power play is not converted, it'll be 0 for 11 officially. And if it does go 0 for 11, right now we have 9 goals scored behind the combined teams. So how do you figure that out? If you got that on NHL history, we could be in a stretch of the first.
Hey, that would be insane to think about.
Yeah, we might be seeing some history. I think I might be onto something. So we'll see. If Boston can score here early, it would be a 2-goal game. They'll try to get this one passed across from Mason Lohrei. Good work there for Florida to send this one back down the ice. And they'll start it again. Lohrei is being hounded by Lindell. I have to pick it up off the back skate now. Morgan Ginky will send it back from Seattle Kraken. Mason find the entry, but this pass doesn't go anywhere. This goes right to Forsling. So he's already back out there. He just killed the penalty. He was on the power play. Now he gets to do both sides of it. Gustav Forsling can definitely handle the workload. Charlie Coyle, this one will get sent in now across from Ekblad. Picked up across the right side wall. Lohrei just keeps it in. And now Ekblad off the backhand. He'll loft it down the ice. Again, full sail speed here for the Panthers. Just to try to kill some time in behind the cage. Jonas Corpusalo, he was greeted very rudely tonight. David Pastrnak into an empty wing. This is split off the backhand for Pavel Zacha again. You got Zacha, Charlie McAvoy, and Trent Frederick with the goals, but not enough as Florida's got 6, and 5 of them are different goal scorers. Here's a shot. This one's going to bank in, and we're not done yet. It's 6-4.
Well, don't go anywhere just yet. It feels like the Panthers, they may be starting to sweat a little bit, but the first pasta party of the year, albeit it may be coming a little late, but Pastrnak breathes some life onto the Bruins.
Florida, Florida, hello, is this thing working?
Pasta got the most fortuitous bounce he ever could have, right? It bounced off of one of the defenders in front and went 5-hole through Bobrovsky, and now they're going to pull for the extra attacker.
You have to. You have to, because at this point, you need to go all out and trying to pull off a miracle here. Now that's in play. You were down by 4. Now you can pull up a miracle. Hey, by the way, update from the WNBA. In a Game 5, the Minnesota Lynx will be headed to the WNBA Finals.
So good for the Lynx. Again, there was a lot expected of them as well. We have 90 seconds left to go in this crazy game. We'll see if Florida can score an empty netter. Boston, you know what? They've not taken themselves out of this game. They certainly didn't get started off to the right foot. That's probably going to be their undoing, but who knows? Failed clear attempt. Here is Zacha. Keep it in. Extra attacker, McAvoy. Zacha, one-timer. This is loose out in front. Florida able to chip this one safely down the glass down to 60 seconds. 6-4 is your score. Gigantic hit as Lusterin goes down. The center of the cage and saved by Bobrovsky. He stopped the goal. Here's Lindholm. Knuckle puck. As this one goes wide. Pasta across the bumper. He's already got one center toward the net. This one gets stick lifted away. Lindholm now. 1T toward the cage. Bobrovsky down. He can't even see. As this one now picked up by Florida. Empty net potentially. Here's a flub. As I don't think Kachuk got a piece of all of it. 25 seconds left. Now Boston able to shovel it ahead. They got one last dance here to try to get one more goal. They need 2. Here is flipped away from Coyle. Zadorov keeps it in. Put it toward the net. Bobrovsky's got it with a glove hand.
If you want a summarization of the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup final last year, there you have it. This game in itself. At the Panthers, they took control early on. But then the Oilers, they bounced back. In this case, the Bruins are playing that role of the Oilers. That the Bruins, they bounce back. They dominate play for the latter stages of the series, or in this case, the game. But in the end, it wasn't enough as the Panthers do just enough to squeak away with the victory. From what it seems. 10.5 seconds away from it being official.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right, Alec. I really don't even know how else to describe it other than a roller coaster, because this game certainly didn't start that way.
It did not. But it certainly was a roller coaster of all aspects. Just wish that the venue was filled out. But nonetheless, the Panthers fans that were brave enough to make the trip, they stayed here. We got some chaos nonetheless.
AJ Greer misses the empty net after Zadorov tried to make something happen. Florida 11-0-2 in season opening games at home. Well, they hang on. 10 goals were scored, and Florida wins this one 6-4. Hey, this is just the opening night of the 24-25 season. We got 81 more of these across the board for everyone else, or 82 that hasn't played. Buckle up. This will be a good one. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining for this one. We couldn't even ask for a better game.
This perhaps was the thrilling opening night game, perhaps the best one that we have seen in recent memory. That the Panthers, they have come out early, they dominate. The Bruins, they come back with some thrills of their own. Make it interesting late. The Panthers do enough. The damage in the first period was the big difference maker for what was the final result. But it wasn't without any sorts of theatrics. We had haymakers. We have gloves being dropped. Max Jones, Mark Kastelik, AJ Greer, all for the new teams. They get involved in some fist fighting here. With Greer and Kastelik, that may have set the tone. And it was Greer, perhaps, who set the tone for the Panthers in that first period. That gave them that added sense of energy. And that was the momentum that the Panthers needed in that first period. They attacked and they attacked and they attacked until it was all said and done.
Yeah, the game was pure anarchy, gentlemen. I'm so glad to have you along here with me as we get set to close on a 6-4 final. Cats will take this one over the Bees, win 6-4 in their opener. And before I close, you guys have a good cast for the rest of the week. And good luck to the Pens. Alec, I'll throw that out there for you. And also for the Royals and the Tigers. We'll see what happens for all of our teams as we move going forward. Thank you again, gentlemen. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Marcus Tennis.